Chapter 1654. The commotion in Luo Prefecture's Forbidden God land shook the entire divine realm. That was a battle between immortals from afar. Only Emperor-level characters could challenge such power. The great monarchs of the 5 great palaces were all alarmed. They all used their techniques to watch the fire burning across the river. They wanted to know what was happening in the God-forbidden grounds. However, in the end, they couldn't see anything. There was only a haze and boundless sword intent. Anyone who dared to force their way in would be killed by the sword intent. None of the forces dared to act recklessly, and they all gave the order to stay away from the Forbidden Godland. Whoever dared to approach the Forbidden Godland would die without question. Those that came back alive from the Forbidden Godland also kept quiet, no longer mentioning the name Wu Ho. Even if they knew that Wu Ho had the Dan Furnace Secret Realm's inheritance and the Yu Yin True God Spear, they were still afraid that Wu Ho would be dead by now. Wu Ho only appeared for a short while, then disappeared for a short while. Wu Ho disappeared, but Yang Wu was still alive. He could come and go as he pleased in the Forbidden Godland. This place was extremely ancient. Not only were there some peerless villains sealed here, there were also some extremely rare treasures. Unfortunately, Yang Wu's strength was too weak and was unable to obtain these divine objects. After keeping the Big Dipper sword, he took out the innate dragon and phoenix sword, smearing his blood essence on it, and murmured, "You will accompany me from now on." A dragon and a phoenix emerged from the dragon and phoenix sword, coiling around the sword as they gave off a joyful vibe. This was an innate level divine sword, comparable to a top-tier divine sword. It had endless uses, just nice to replace the Big Dipper sword. Yang Wu didn't stay any longer. With such a huge commotion, there was definitely no one around, and it was the best time to leave. He carried the bronze cauldron and flew out of the Forbidden Godland. He also summoned Qi Jin and left quickly. However, he didn't plan to go too far. This place had become a forbidden ground, and many died here. He could stay here safely, but other living beings didn't have such power. It was best for him to stay here and cultivate. He wanted to heal his Dao injuries and be on his way again. Now, he couldn't go back to Luo Prefecture City, and he couldn't join the Medicine God Palace. He could only take his time to think about it. After Yang Wu left, some of the talisman runes on the Forbidden God ground started to crack. Just like the true God Great Emperor said, this place wouldn't last more than 100 years before collapsing. Yang Wu couldn't care less. He didn't think he was the reincarnation of Jin Wu, and he didn't care. He just wanted to be himself. What Yang Wu didn't know was that while he was concentrating on his cultivation, the Luo Manor had become extremely lively. Luo Manor. This was the most powerful force in the Luo state. If it wasn't for the fact that their ancestors had taught them not to dominate a region, they would have long taken over the Luo state and become the true rulers of the Luo state. Now, a distinguished guest had arrived at the Luo Manor. Even the old manor lord was alarmed. "Greetings, Your Highness, Your Highness." The old mansion master led a group of Luo residence's elders and bowed to the golden couple in front of him. Only the children and disciples of great emperors were qualified to be addressed as such. Even those divine sons and goddesses with divine bodies couldn't be compared to them. Their status was indescribable. The 5 great emperors of the 5 great palaces were the most powerful figures in the divine world. Their children and disciples would be respected no matter where they went. The princess handed a portrait to the old mansion master of the Luo Manor, Luo Tianming, and said, "Elder Luo, have you seen him?" After looking at the portrait, Luo Tianming's old eyes twitched, and he said, "I have seen him once before. May I know why Your Highness is looking for him?" The princess was overjoyed, and she said, "Since you have seen him, quickly help me find him. He is my friend." Luo Tianming's old eyes twitched, and he said awkwardly, I'm afraid I can't do as Your Highness wishes." "Why?" The princess was dissatisfied. "He is already dead," Luo Tianming replied. The princess was stunned. After a while, she came back to her senses and said, "Impossible. Little Wu is very smart and has great opportunities. How can he be a short-lived person? How dare you lie to me?" "I don't dare. He is really dead," Luo Tianming said with certainty, and then he said, "Not long ago, Your Highness, you felt a great change in the Luo province. It was a battle between immortals and the god-forbidden land. He is the one who started it. How can he survive? The princess's face instantly turned pale. The young man beside the princess asked, "Tell me in detail." Luo Tianming didn't dare to hide anything and told the princess everything that happened in the god-forbidden land. As the most powerful force in the Luo province, Luo Manor could easily uncover what happened in the god-forbidden land. In order to understand the cause of the commotion over there, he had already obtained the most accurate information. Yang Wu entered the god-forbidding land and triggered the taboo of the god-forbidding land, triggering a battle between immortals. Even if Yang Wu changed his appearance, Luo Tianming had already seen his original appearance when he came to the Luo Manor. He had a pair of eyes of the water god talent. No matter how Yang Wu changed, he couldn't escape his eyes. At that time, he didn't expose Yang Wu because he looked similar to a great emperor. Therefore, he did Yang Wu a favor and invited him to be a guest. Who knew that Yang Wu was related to the princess? Now that the princess had come to find him, but he was dead. As the Luo Manor's old mansion master, he couldn't bear the responsibility. After hearing Luo Tianming's words, the princess murmured, "No wonder my connection with the hairpin was cut off. It turns out that little Wu is already." She recalled the bits and pieces she had spent with Yang Wu in the Divine Firmament battlefield. Her heart ached and tears flowed down uncontrollably. Luo Tianming didn't dare to look at the princess at all. His heart trembled. He didn't know what the princess would do next. The young man beside the princess said, "The dead can't be brought back to life. My condolences. I want all those who went against little Wu to die." The princess roared. Just like that, some of the forces that had chased after Yang Wu before were unlucky. Although the princess's anger wasn't as terrifying as the great emperor's anger, it would still cause a huge commotion in a prefecture. The Luo Manor and the forces related to the Celestial Large Hall took action one after another. Those forces that had chased after Yang Wu were inexplicably injured, greatly damaging their vitality. They still didn't know which noble they had offended to suffer such terrifying revenge. On this day, a young girl rode a ferocious beast into the Luo Manor city. She carried a little white dog in her arms. Her bright and beautiful appearance made people want to take pity on her. Many cultivators were tempted when they saw her, but the ferocious beasts around her were so frightened that they didn't dare to come forward. Young Master was first listed as a wanted criminal here. I wonder if he's still here. Please pray that young Master is still safe and sound. The young girl thought to herself nervously. The young girl also took a wanted portrait and asked around. Unfortunately, she couldn't find the person she was looking for. In addition, a palace also descended on the Luo prefecture. A young man and an old man came out from the palace and headed straight for the Luo Manor. Yang Wu was still cultivating in seclusion around the Forbidden Godland. As long as the martial Dao injury wasn't healed, he wouldn't have a day of peace. This injury had broken his great Dao and made him unable to absorb the power of heaven and earth. He couldn't easily use the various martial Dao powers, which seriously hindered his cultivation. He had already refined the immortal liquid and the heaven and earth source qi, but he still couldn't remove this injury. Moreover, this injury was slowly worsening, which made his heart heavier. Since this injury can't be healed, I'll study the inheritance of the alchemy furnace secret realm first. Yang Wu decided to forget about this great Dao injury. After all, he wouldn't die anytime soon. He first looked at the rewards he obtained from the alchemy furnace secret realm. These rewards were all collected by the bronze artifact spirit. He just had to call it out. Yang Wu didn't let it out completely at once. Instead, he let it out bit by bit, starting with the fire talismans. These fire talismans were actually alchemy Dao runes, immortal laws. After the immortal qi of many fire talismans was lost, the power of laws contained in these fire talismans was incomparably weak. They contained alchemy techniques and secret alchemy techniques. Yang Wu observed these fire talismans, and with the guidance of the artifact spirit, he was able to understand the mysteries of the fire talismans. Combined with his own experiences in the pill furnace mystic realm, he suddenly realized just how exquisite this fire talisman was. If I were a medicinal herb, after being refined by this palm technique, the essence would be condensed. I've already been refined once in the alchemy furnace. Unfortunately, I was in a hurry and couldn't reach the peak. Perhaps I should refine it again. Yang Wu did as he said. He planned to transform into a medicinal herb and refine his body. If he wasn't careful, he might end up dying from exhaustion. Only someone like Yang Wu, who had an immortal root, dared to do so. He couldn't use the refining technique alone, so he let the artifact spirit refine him. Qi Jin stood guard at the side. He was now much stronger than before. Among the younger generation, he had the qualifications to be called a king. This was the benefit of following Yang Wu. Master is so powerful. When a Luo Qi gathering is held, he will definitely amaze the world. I will also be in the limelight. It's a pity that I won't have such an opportunity. Qi Jin sighed softly in his heart. The Luo Qi gathering was a youth gathering held every 100 years in the Luo state. It was hosted by the Luo residents and hosted by other forces. It was a gathering place for geniuses under the age of 100. At the Luo Qi gathering, the geniuses would discuss Tao. Whoever came out on top will be able to obtain a Luo lotus that was born in the water of the Luo River. The Luo lotus was the supreme treasure of the Luo River. It could fuse the will and blood essence of a martial artist. If one's true body died, he could use the Luo lotus to regenerate his body. It could be said to be a unique lotus. Whether it was the human race or other races, they all coveted the Luo lotus. Qi Jin was also very interested in the Luo lotus. Unfortunately, he didn't have the ability to do so. Unless he could become a real three-legged golden crow, he might have a chance. Now that he had obtained the immortal liquid to improve his bloodline, not only did he become a demon immortal, his battle prowess and talent had increased greatly. However, he still couldn't compare to a monster like Yang Wu. Chapter 1655. Qi Jin stood guard at the side. At the same time, he also absorbed the Xian Qi of heaven and earth to cultivate. He did not dare to neglect his cultivation. Although he was Yang Wu's mount, Yang Wu was so strong. If he could not keep up, he would be abandoned. At this time, Yang Wu had already entered the bronze cauldron. The treasure spirit said to him, "This should be the inheritance left behind by an immortal cauldron. There is also an immortal cauldron wall here, but I have already swallowed it. I will also give you the inheritance imprinted on it. I will not give you any less. However, you want me to refine your body. Are you really not worried?" Yang Wu replied, "Since I am your master, what is there to be worried about? If you wanted to kill me, you would not have waited until today." "Hee, not bad, not bad. Just based on your willpower, it's worth it for me to refine it for you. However, I don't need his refining method. I have my own way of refining it," the tool spirit said. And without waiting for Yang Wu to prepare, he threw a fire palm at him. Bang! Yang Wu was slapped until he was dizzy and disoriented. True fire directly burned his body, causing him incomparable pain. Embrace and guard returned to one. The treasure spirit's voice rang out. Yang Wu endured the pain and sat cross-legged. He allowed the fire palm to hit his body continuously. This was indeed a supreme alchemy technique, treating him like a stalk of medicinal herb. The fire palms that were sometimes big and sometimes small had different strengths, but they were methodical, tempering his body unceasingly. There was even a formless true fire that entered his body, tempering his skin, tendons, organs, bones, and blood. These parts had been refined repeatedly. He always felt that they could not be refined. However, under the tempering of the fire palms, traces of impurities were expelled. If he did not become an immortal, impurities would be expelled. Yang Wu endured the pain and did not make sound. When his body was about to be cooked, he used the power of his immortal root to replenish it. When it was not enough, he refined the immortal liquid to nourish his body. He could not let it be wasted. After traces of impurities were expelled, Yang Wu's body became more transparent. His sparkling flesh, organs, and bones were full of vitality. Unfortunately, no matter how perfect his physical body was, his Tao injuries were still there. Yang Wu used his inner vision to look at this Tao injury and thought to himself, to mend a Tao injury, I need to comprehend a complete great Tao. Now that my martial Tao is damaged, why don't I try alchemy and see if I can mend this Tao injury? Thinking of this, Yang Wu completely let go of the divine cord and allowed Daohua to comprehend the alchemy palm technique and the various alchemy techniques left behind in the alchemy furnace mystic realm. These were the methods of immortals and possessed extraordinary significance. They were not inferior to what Little Hay had taught him. There were even some unique methods that Little Hay could not compare to. In Yang Wu's divine court, his spirit was deducing the Tao of pill refinement. The immortal Tao contained in the fire runes flowed into his Tao flower like a sweet spring, nourishing his pill Tao. When the Tao is deficient, it must be filled up. Yang Wu's perception was astonishing. He compared the Tao of alchemy he had comprehended in the past with the Tao of alchemy he was comprehending now. He had completely entered a state of enlightenment and even forgot about his physical body that was being tempered by the tool's spirit. Unknowingly, an enlightened pill Tao appeared in front of him and was deeply imprinted on his Tao flower. The Tao injury in his body finally showed signs of healing. It was not gradually worsening like before. When he woke up, he screamed, "Enough, enough! It's already burnt. There's no need to refine it anymore." The artifact spirit stopped tempering Yang Wu. The old and scorched skin on Yang Wu's body quickly fell off, and new skin and flesh quickly grew out. Yang Wu's condition was much better than before. I understand how the Tao injury came about. Aside from the fact that my breakthrough was affected, it is also because my Grand Tao is incomplete. If I commend my Grand Tao, I might be able to mend the Tao injury, Yang Wu said with a smile. He had always been misled. He thought that the Tao injury could be treated with ordinary healing methods. Now that he had comprehended the complete pill Tao, he realized the real problem. Therefore, he could not help but feel sorry for the source chi of heaven and earth that he had consumed. After Yang Wu recovered from his injuries, he once again entered a state of seclusion and began to repair his martial arts injuries. He had many martial Taos: the Tao of life and death, the Water Luo spear Tao, the Jinwu boxing Tao. It was not easy to repair them one by one. Yang Wu began to comprehend the Jinwu boxing Tao that he was most familiar with. It was not any easier than starting a new martial Tao. His martial Tao was comprehended in the transcendent realm, and the transcendent realm was merely an ordinary realm in the human realm. The Tao laws were incomplete, and the comprehension he had comprehended was naturally incomplete. After coming to the immortal realm, this kind of situation was within reason. Fortunately, Yang Wu's comprehension ability was astonishing. He used his divine soul to deduce martial arts, and his divine soul had long reached the heavenly soul realm. Perhaps there were still some deficiencies, but his comprehension ability was not inferior to that of a top-level immortal state creature. Therefore, the Jinwu boxing Tao gradually entered a state of enlightenment. He seemed to see the Jinwu Great Emperor descend again. Black Tortoise also appeared from the deep sea. The sun and the moon were reversing, and the stars were shining. The vision was extremely shocking. You are the Jinwu Great Emperor, and you are me. The Jinwu Great Emperor seemed to be talking to Yang Wu. Yang Wu stared at the Jinwu Great Emperor. This was an extremely tall man. Without saying a word, the Jinwu Great Emperor punched out. His domineering aura was invincible in the world. I am me, and no one can be me. Yang Wu's willpower was like the sea. His black hair fluttered in the wind. His fist was like a dragon, exploding the sky. Don't resist. If you hit me, you are hitting yourself. Defeating myself is defeating myself. So what if you are a great emperor? In the future, you will still be at my feet. Imperceptibly, wisps of martial Tao imprint came and began to complete Yang Wu's Jinwu boxing Tao. As this martial Tao was completed, his Tao injuries healed again. If this continued, it would not be long before all his Tao injuries were healed. Moreover, his combat strength would also become stronger. There was no time in the mountains. Yang Wu was completely immersed in completing his martial Tao. He did not know what was happening in the outside world. The once-in-a-century Luo Qi gathering was finally about to begin. This time, the Luo Qi gathering was even grander than the previous ones. This was because the crown princess and the crown prince were coming. Moreover, they were the new successors of two different imperial palaces. In order to please them, the Luo manor invited many young talents in the Luo state to participate. It was more appropriate to say that it was to liven things up. The crown princess and the crown prince would not keep Luo Lian with them. In their imperial palaces, they would get any divine item they wanted as a tribute. For example, Luo Lian of the Luo manor would also have to pay tribute to the Heavenly Emperor Palace. Only the surplus would be kept as a reward for the gathering. Such a reward was even tempting to immortal state creatures. Unfortunately, it was only open to immortal state creatures below the age of 100. It was also a good karma between the Luo manor and the young generation in the Luo state. This was the reason why they consolidated their position as the overlord of the Luo state. As the Luo Qi gathering began, young people from all over the Luo state came one after another. They were proud to have received an invitation. Only the young people who were favored by the Luo manor were qualified to participate. There were also some invitation cards that were auctioned off by the Luo manor at high price. However, the quota was very limited. There were only 100 of them, so the price was extremely high. Some young people who were full of vigor rode on their mounts and rushed to the Luo manor city. There were even some young people from other states who came because of the Luo manor. Most of these young people from other states had some relationship with the Luo manor. The Luo manor city became very lively. The commotion in the Forbidden Godland was completely forgotten. That level of influence only pressured true God realm experts. As the saying went, if the sky fell, there was a tall man to hold it up. True God realm experts were those tall men. A young girl carrying a little white dog participated in the Luo Manor's auction today. She muttered to herself, "If young master is still alive, he will definitely come to participate in this gathering in the Luo state." The young girl looked for her young master. After asking around, she came to a conclusion. Her young master had fallen in the Forbidden Godland. At one point, her expression became very sad. A young man appeared beside her and comforted her. She turned a deaf ear to him. The young man did not give up. He kept following the young girl. Later, he suggested that the young girl participate in the auction. The Luo Qi gathering was a gathering of all the young people. They should participate. The young girl did not agree at first. However, when she thought that her young master might be at this gathering, it was as if she saw a glimmer of hope. She decided to participate in the auction. The young man beside her seemed to be in the saint realm, but he was wearing gorgeous clothes. If one looked carefully, they would see that they were made of some special divine materials. The young man who could wear such clothes was either a direct disciple of an overlord-level force or a disciple of a rich and powerful family. "Little sister Xiaoman, just you wait. I'll definitely auction off a spot for you," the young man said with a trace of arrogance. The young girl did not seem to hear him. She did not pay attention to him. The young man wasn't upset. To him, he enjoyed the process of pursuing her. Xiaoman was pure and cute and had an excellent figure. She was the girl he liked the most so far, and he was willing to spend some time with her. At the auction, the auctioneer said, "The starting price of the quota for today's Luo Qi gathering is 50,000 low-grade godly stones. Each bid must not be lower than 10,000 low-grade godly stones." This price was not high. However, it was only the starting price. 60,000 low-grade godly stones. 70,000 low-grade godly stones. 80,000 low-grade godly stones. The price of the quota continued to rise. Everyone gradually became excited. The young man beside the young girl said, "This price is too boring. Look at me." However, before he could finish, the young girl said loudly, "I bid 10,000 godly stones." When everyone heard this, they were stunned. They had already raised the price to 300,000 low-grade godly stones. This young girl only bid 10,000. Was she stupid? Just as the auctioneer was about to scold her, she said weakly, "I bid high-grade godly stones. Is that okay?" Then she thought of something and added, I only have high-grade godly stones. So, I'm sorry. I really want this quota. Everyone was petrified. This young girl was too cute. Was she pretending to be pure? Chapter 1656. She was a cute and adorable girl, pure and innocent. She was extremely moving. The young man beside the young girl clutched his heart and said, Too cute, too cute. She's the person I'm looking for. A woman's voice sounded from another direction. What are you pretending for? I bid 11,000 high-grade divine stone. 10,000 high-grade divine stone was equivalent to 1,000,000 low-grade divine stone. This was already a very high price, because this was only the right to enter and not the right to exchange for luo yen. However, there were people who really couldn't stand the young girl's appearance and still increased the price. Then I'll bid 20,000. The young girl replied weakly. For the young master, there was nothing she couldn't do. She didn't lack divine stone, so it should be enough to buy a spot. Was he purposely causing trouble? 21,000 high-grade divine stone. I'll bid 30,000. 31,000 high-grade divine stone. I'll bid 40,000. The young woman who was arguing with the young girl was so angry that she vomited blood. She added 1,000, but the other party added 10,000. I'm so angry. I'll give you 50,000. If you go higher than this price, I'll give it to you, but I suspect that you don't have so many divine stone. If you can't take it out, the auction won't let you go. The jealous woman said loudly. The young girl was unmoved and said, I'll bid 60,000. I'll remember you. The jealous woman really did not raise the price anymore. She then added, What a brainless woman. If you have the guts, say that again. You and your family's power will disappear. The young man beside the young girl cast a sharp gaze at the woman. The woman looked at the young man, and for some reason, it was as if she was being stared at by a poisonous snake. She felt very scared and actually didn't dare to respond. Although her family's power was not weak, but which family here was weak? If they really offended a power stronger than their family, then it would be troublesome. There was not only one spot for the auction, but 100. This was only the first one. The price of the following spots was not so high. The approximate fluctuation was around 1,000,000 low-grade divine stone. When the auction reached the last spot, it finally attracted some attention. A young man bid 100,000 high-grade divine stones and instantly won the spot. This young man's aura was hazy, and no one could see his face clearly. However, the aura he gave off was very comfortable. It was as if he was born to be amiable, and as long as he stood there, he would cause others to have a good impression of him. The boy beside the girl was not happy, because the young girl's gaze was focused on the youth with the hazy aura. Her beautiful eyes flashed with a trace of astonishment. It seems to be the young master's scent. Little man, stop looking. He's just a guy who hides his head and shows his tail. He's definitely a sinister person. Don't be fooled by him, said the young man beside the girl. The girl replied, No, he has the same aura as young master. After saying that, the girl quickly walked towards the youth with the hazy aura. Unfortunately, after the auction ended, the young man with the hazy aura walked quickly, and the young girl couldn't keep up. The boy beside the girl was extremely sad. I will definitely shine at the Luo Chi conference. No matter who your young master is, I will replace him. Just you wait. The young man swore in his heart. Just as the Luo Chi conference was about to start, a young man in the Forbidden Godland reappeared. Bang! A muffled sound rang out as a mountain was directly bombarded. Pieces of gravel splashed everywhere, and waves of dust billowed in the air. Haha! I've finally repaired all my martial arts, and my Dao injury has also been repaired. This time, who could do anything to me? A carefree voice laughed. Congratulations on coming out of seclusion, master. Another voice sounded. The person who came out of seclusion was undoubtedly Yongwu. After nearly 3 months, he had finally repaired all his martial arts, and his Dao injury had been completely repaired. At the same time, the power in his Dantian had completely overflowed, and his heavenly power had also been completely stabilized. The power of the crescent moon had appeared, and he had become a divine realm expert. His Dantian was still a peach seed Dantian, but the power stored in it was not inferior to that of a top divine realm expert. This kind of leap was not ordinary. This was also the result of his repeated tempering and breaking through his limits many times. For many years, he had paid great attention to his practical foundation, and now he had finally reaped the rewards. At this moment, he was confident that he had a foothold in the divine realm. Even a top divine realm expert would not be able to deal with him easily. At this point, he didn't plan to continue hiding. He wanted to walk openly in the God realm and make a name for himself. He was the chosen one of the human realm. After coming to the God realm, he was also the chosen one of the chosen ones. This was the confidence that he had cultivated for many years, and it returned to him once again. Yang Wu felt his condition, and it was really perfect. He could not help but sigh. In the divine realm, the great Tao is complete. I cultivated many different Taos, and it was difficult for my Tao injury to be repaired. Now that it has been repaired, not only has my martial arts become more perfect, but even my strength has increased by a lot. I've finally completely adapted to the environment here. The divine court Tao flower has also undergone a qualitative change, and everything has become clearer. No wonder the creatures in the divine realm are called divine spirits. The world stars they live in are already of a higher level. He had undergone a qualitative change, and his perception of everything was different. Qi Jin, let's fight. Yang Wu looked at Qi Jin and said. Qi Jin had also risen to the Yao God level, and was at the peak of the elementary Yao God level. He would soon become a mid-level Yao God, and his strength was not to be underestimated. Yes, master. Qi Jin flashed with excitement. He had signed a master-servant contract with Yang Wu, and he would listen to everything Yang Wu said. However, that did not mean that he did not have his own thoughts. He also wanted to become stronger. He was a three-legged golden crow, and was not inferior to any top-level creature. Thus, Yang Wu and Qi Jin fought. Yang Wu had mastered a complete great Tao, and his attacks were extremely fierce and natural. He was no longer bound by the Tao rules here, and his attacks contained extraordinary power. Qi Jin, on the other hand, turned into a golden sun and crazily clashed with Yang Wu. The divine fire that he emitted was not something that ordinary creatures could compare to. A man and a bird clashed fiercely, and it caused a lot of commotion. Fortunately, all the creatures in the vicinity of the Forbidden Godland had disappeared without a trace, and no one noticed their existence. The two of them stopped without a victor being decided. Yang Wu did not use his full strength, and Qi Jin was not going to fight to the death. Qi Jin was just feeding Yang Wu a punch. Yang Wu jumped on Qi Jin's back and said loudly, "Let's go, we should leave this damn place." The Forbidden Godland was full of strange things, and he did not want to stay here at all. No matter what relationship he had with great Emperor Zhen Wu, he did not plan to delve into it. He only hoped that something like this would not happen again in the future. Before that, he had to become stronger until he surpassed great Emperor Zhen Wu. Perhaps he could escape from his shadow. Yang Wu still planned to return to Luo Prefecture City and figure out his current situation. He wanted to see if there was a chance to find his senior sister and leave with her. At the same time, he was worried that after causing such a big commotion, would the people from the Medicine God Palace also want to deal with him? There's no need to worry so much. If anyone dares to have any ideas about me, then come at me if you're not afraid of death. Yang Wu threw away all his worries and firmly headed towards Luo Prefecture City. If he was afraid of the people from the God Realm, then it would be a great hindrance to his state of mind. Only by carving out his own path could he truly stand in the God Realm. Yang Wu rode the three-legged golden crow forward, and it was very eye-catching. The three-legged golden crow was a top-tier demon race. Who would dare to ride on their heads? The three-legged golden crow race would definitely eliminate the other party at all costs. However, the three-legged golden crow race's territory wasn't in Luo Prefecture. Qi Jin had only wandered here and accidentally fell into a trap. If he was in the three-legged golden crow race's territory, then Yang Wu would have been taken care of by them. As they got closer to Luo Prefecture City, their combination attracted the attention of other creatures. A team was also heading towards Luo Prefecture City. This team was riding on an ancient war chariot. Numerous powerful demonic beasts pulled the war chariot. Its speed was astonishing, and its powerful aura caused other creatures to avoid it. The beasts pulling the war chariot were ardent dragonhawks. They contained traces of the dragon race's bloodline and were an extremely powerful demon race. When these ardent dragonhawks saw the three-legged golden crow, they even cried out provocatively, "Yo yo!" The ardent dragonhawks cried out loudly and even breathed out a long wave of fire at the three-legged golden crow. They didn't put the three-legged golden crow in their eyes at all. They only dared to do so because the owner of the war chariot gave them the order to be so arrogant. The three-legged golden crow was most afraid of fire. Together with the phoenix and the vermilion bird, it was known as the fire god's bird. Playing with fire in front of it was child's play. The three-legged golden crow flapped its golden, flaming wings. Golden flaming blades slashed out and blocked all of the ardent dragonhawk's fire waves. "Do you want to die?" The three-legged golden crow looked at the ardent dragonhawks and cried out. The Emperor's wind was released, and a thick demonic aura caused the ardent dragonhawks to tremble. This golden crow's bloodline seems to be very pure. It doesn't look fake. The creature on the war chariot said. Another creature replied, "Who dares to sit on the golden crow? Are they tired of living?" Occasionally, there will be people who do so. In the end, most of them die. Now that the Luo Qi gathering is about to start, there are some arrogant fellows coming out. They really don't know what they're talking about. These creatures spoke without any concern for Yang Wu, who was sitting on the three-legged golden crow. They didn't put Yang Wu in their eyes at all. Yang Wu looked at them and narrowed his eyes slightly. He muttered, "People from the Yin sect. Yo, you know that we're from the Yin Bay. Looks like you have some background. Why do I feel that this kid is a little familiar? I think I've seen him somewhere before. He seems to be the kid who killed Sister Shirlu." Chapter 1657. When Yang Wu first arrived in the God Realm, he had a grudge with the Yin school. He didn't expect to run into people from the God Realm on his way back to Luo Manor City. He even saw one of them in the void. It was the woman who had captured him and given him to Shirlu. Now that Yang Wu had returned to his original appearance, he was recognized by the other party at a glance. Yang Wu didn't want to attack them. He had killed many people in the Pill Cauldron Hidden Realm and the Forbidden Land. He didn't want to kill anyone. Of course, if they kept bothering him, he wouldn't mind staining the sky with blood. He didn't want to cause trouble, but that didn't mean others didn't. The people from the Yin school surrounded him. Qi Jin said coldly, "Do you want to die?" His body released a powerful golden flame, and the aura of a demon god swept out in all directions. The ardent dragonhawks didn't dare approach. The ardent dragonhawks were much weaker than the three-legged golden crow. The people from the Yin school flew out of the chariot. The one who saw Yang Wu before reached out a hand to grab Yang Wu. "Kid, you killed Sister Shirlu and you still want to run? You think you can get away so easily?" Mo Haloa from the Yin school said faintly. Before the man's palm could land on Yang Wu, Qi Jin opened his mouth and spat out a golden light, which blasted the power of the palm away. "Master, let me kill them." Qi Jin volunteered. Some time ago, he and Yang Wu were being hunted down together, and they had been sullen. Now that he had recovered to his peak condition, he wanted to fight with all his might. Yang Wu jumped down from Qi Jin's body and said, "All right, you go. Three-legged golden crow. Aren't you afraid of being punished by your clan for being a mount?" Imohaloa looked at Qi Jin calmly. "My business is none of your business." Qi Jin shouted. He spread his wings and charged at the people from the Yin school. "Ardent Dragonhawks, go." A young man beside Mo ordered the mounts. The dozen ardent dragonhawks cried out wildly and pounced towards Qi Jin. The ardent dragonhawk strength was extraordinary, and there were many of them. It should be enough to deal with a three-legged golden crow at the same time. That was what the people from Yin Gate thought. Their main target was not the three-legged golden crow, but Yang Wu. Yang Wu looked at Mo Halaw and smiled calmly. "I'm not looking for trouble with you, but you're always looking for trouble with me. Do you really think I'm easy to bully? Elder Mo, was he really captured by you? Why is he looking down on you?" The young man beside Mo Halaw asked. This young man was tall and thin. His face was thin, and his eyes were gentle like a poisonous snake. It made people feel uncomfortable. His body was emitting a powerful aura, and one could tell at a glance that he was not an ordinary person. Among these people, this young man held the most important position. Other than Mo Halaw, everyone else was behind him. A piece of trash who pretends to be a pig to eat a tiger. He might have come from the lower world. I heard that there was a chosen one in the human world. I wonder if it's him. Mo Halaw replied as he reached out to grab Yang Wu. Mo Halaw was a high-level immortal state warrior. His casual grab had an earth-shattering power. Not everyone could escape from it. When Yang Wu was still at level 11, he was not afraid of Mo Halaw. Now that he had broken through to the Jade Moon level, his strength had increased by a lot. There was no way he would be afraid of Mo Halaw. You know I'm a wolf in sheep's clothing, yet you still dare to provoke me. Let's end this once and for all. Yang Wu said faintly. He raised his fist and attacked. True meaning of the straight punch. Bang! Yang Wu did not hold back. He hit Mo Halaw's hand seal, and a powerful force rushed towards Mo Halaw. Mo Halaw raised his eyebrows and tried to suppress Yang Wu's punch. But when he came in contact with Yang Wu's palm, he felt a powerful force that forced him back. The people from Gate of Yin were shocked. They did not expect the young man they could easily crush to be strong enough to force Mo Halaw back. Mo Halaw was one of the strongest in their group. Didn't that mean this young man had the power to kill them? I know why Shirlu died. You've hidden your strength well. Mo Halaw wiped away his anger and said. He adjusted his state and was ready to attack Yang Wu again. The young man beside Mo Halaw said, Leave it to me. Let me see how strong he is. Young Master Liang, he's not worth your time. Mo Halaw said, How can someone who can tame the three-legged golden crow not be worth my time? Once I take him down, the three-legged golden feet will be mine. Liang Yameng replied. Liang Yameng's status was very high. He was the son of the vice leader of Gate of Yin. He did not have a divine body, but his fighting power was not weaker than one. He was in the early stage of the Ascension Realm. He came to Luo Fu City to fight for Luo Lian. Come meet together. Don't waste time. Yang Wu looked at Liang Yameng calmly. You're so arrogant. I'll show you how the gate of hell opens. Liang Yameng took a deep look at Yang Wu, and a terrifying soul-sucking force fell directly on Yang Wu's divine court. A terrifying scene of hell opened up. Ghosts and ghosts appeared everywhere. It was the gate of hell. This was Liang Yameng's terrifying talent. If he was not careful, he could suck away a person's soul. He would not even know how he died. However, the talent that he thought he had was nothing but chicken ribs to Yang Wu. So what if it's the gate of hell? Watch me smash it, Yang Wu replied. His soul power condensed into a devil soul chain and swept out. It ruthlessly lashed in front of the hell's gate and smashed it. The devil soul chain had already been destroyed by Pomegranate. Now, this devil soul chain was completely formed by his soul force. After breaking through to the Jade Moon realm, his soul power had become extremely domineering. It had reached the peak of the God realm. His soul power attack was extremely shocking. It was not something Liang Yameng could compare to. After Liang Yameng's innate talent was broken, he retreated dozens of meters. His face was pale, and he said in surprise, Your soul power is so strong. You can actually break my innate talent. You really have some skill. After saying that, he attacked Yang Wu once again. It was still an attack from his eyes. Two hell swords slashed towards Yang Wu. It was condensed from soul power and was very powerful. In an instant, it reached the front of Yang Wu's divine court. Not only that, but he also rushed at Yang Wu. The divine sword on his back was pulled out. A black sword light appeared in front of Yang Wu in the blink of an eye. The two attacks exploded at the same time. It was impossible to guard against. If it were a martial artist with a weaker ability to adapt, they would have been cut down by a sword. But in front of Yang Wu, this attack was nothing. Kill! Yang Wu's killing intent sword. His devil soul chain lashed out at the hell swords. His true body rushed out like a bull, and his fist slammed into Liang Yameng's sword light. Bang! Bang! Regardless of whether it was the attack of his spirit or the profound energy attack of his true body, Yang Wu was not inferior to Liang Yaming's. In fact, he was even stronger and had blown apart all of his attacks. Without waiting for Liang Jinming to recover, Yang Wu used his wind god's leg. Like a gust of wind, he rushed at Liang Yaming. Barbarian horse fist. Barbaric eagle fist. Yang Wu's counterattack was fast. He did not give Liang Yaming any time to react. The tyrannical shadows of his fists rained down on Liang Yaming. By the time Liang Yaming noticed Yang Wu's attack, it was already too late. However, his reaction was fast enough. A black godly armor formed on his body, protecting him tightly to prevent Yang Wu from seriously injuring him. He was too naive. Yang Wu's fist broke his divine armor. Every punch landed on his flesh. He spat out blood and was sent flying. "Protect young Master Liang," Emohalo ordered. As his voice fell, other living beings attacked Yang Wu. Yang Wu's long hair danced in the wind. His eyes were like lightning. He shouted, "I'll bury you all together. Soul, I extermination. Nether ice wing blade." Yang Wu's talent power was unleashed. Some of the living beings who had not yet reached him were killed on the spot. They did not even know how they died. At the same time, Yang Wu used his wind god's leg. His speed was like a ghost. Once again, he unleashed powerful fists at Liang Jinming. He did not give Liang Jinming any chance to escape. Liang Yaming was not an ordinary person. He was the son of the vice sect master. His combat talent was almost comparable to the divine body. He roared, "Do you really think I'm easy to bully? I'll kill you." The long sword flew out and turned into a black dragon. It combined with his battle chi and slashed out an extremely shocking sword. Black dragon overturning the sky. The black dragon sword said. This was Liang Yaming's sword Dao. He had refined the blood of the black dragon in his body. It combined with his divine sword and unleashed an extremely powerful combat strength. It was comparable to the combat strength of a high-level immortal state creature. With his strength, it was not an exaggeration to call him the martial god. Unfortunately, the title of martial god was not something that could be casually given. He had to go through layers of tests. Boom, boom. Yang Wu's overbearing fist force collided with Liang Jinming's attack. An earth-shattering sound rang out. Bursts of Xian Qi splashed in all directions. Soon, a figure was sent flying while vomiting blood. That person was Liang Jinming. His chest had been punched through by Yang Wu's fist. Just as Yang Wu was about to pursue and kill Liang Yaming, Mo Haloa had already arrived. The scythe in his hand was aimed at Yang Wu's neck. It was like a deadly scythe. No one could stop it. Yang Wu's body had been tempered thousands of times. It was comparable to a divine weapon. He was able to block Mo Haloa's attack with just his arm. "I'll take one of your arms first." Mo Haloa was certain that Yang Wu's arm would be crippled. His scythe was a mid-level divine weapon. Even a top-level immortal state warrior would not be able to withstand his full attack. Clank! When his scythe landed on Yang Wu's arm, it made a crisp sound. It was as if the scythe had hit an iron spear. It did not cut off Yang Wu's arm. "What? It's my turn. Kill." Chapter 1658. Mo Haloa didn't expect a human body to be this strong. He was a warrior who had fought hundreds of battles outside the void dimension. He had encountered all kinds of terrifying creatures. Even creatures like the Star Beast would be torn apart by his full-powered attack. But now, he couldn't even cut off one of Yang Wu's arms. How tough was Yang Wu's arm? Yang Wu swung his other arm at Mo Haloa. It smashed down like a dragon's whip on Mo Haloa's shoulder and sent him flying. Yang Wu chased after him and swung his arms continuously. Terrifying shadows of his arms turned into whips and smashed down. It was extremely domineering. After Yang Wu broke through to the Jade Moon realm, his fighting strength had been fully unleashed in the God realm. He had adapted to the environment here, and his fighting strength had become even more ferocious. Mo Haloa lived up to his reputation as an expert who had gone through hundreds of battles in the void. Even though he only had the strength of an advanced celestial, his battle prowess was no less than that of an ordinary celestial. Every arm attack that Yang Wu threw at him was blocked by him. "You really have hidden your strength well," Mo Haloa shouted and unleashed his unique battle chi. His strength rose steadily. His scythe was filled with power. He slashed down at Yang Wu from high above. It was like a devil's scythe could cut through the world. Devil's saber murder. Mo Halua attacked with his full strength. His strength was much stronger than the Yin School's pomegranate that Yang Wu killed. Yang Wu's spirit and chi became one. His body exploded with an invincible aura. He completely ignored Mo Halua's attack and punched out fearlessly. Savage Tyrant Fist. Jinwu Boxing. The invincible fist hit the devil's scythe. Two terrifying shock waves rolled out. The fist cracked, and so did the blade light. Neither of them could do anything to the other. The two of them clashed again. It was like two stars crashing into each other. The others couldn't intervene and could only watch from afar. This kid is so strong. Liang Yameng thought to himself with lingering fear. If Yang Wu were to fight him with this kind of strength, he wouldn't be able to withstand it. Mo Halua was a fierce warrior. He had killed countless creatures. But even Yang Wu couldn't take him down. It was shocking to the people of Yin School. Once Mo Halua was defeated, they would be in big trouble. Mo Halua knew that. But he had rich battle experience. Of Halua, when Yang Wu's attacks paused for a moment, he sneered. "You're tired now, aren't you? I'll send you to hell." Bone Blade. A special power exploded from Mo Halua's bones. It contained the power of a god-slaying bone blade. It broke through the air and came before Yang Wu in the blink of an eye. Yang Wu did not have time to block it, and his Xian Wu armor was broken. It landed on his Emperor Jade armor and cut deep into his flesh. It almost cut him in half. Luckily, his body was strong enough to withstand this fatal blow. Blue Beauty, burn it. Yang Wu ignored the pain. He used his Flame of Heart to burn his opponent's power. Then, he attacked with all his might. Jinwu Fist. The fist technique that he cultivated was the most convenient to use, and the explosive power was the strongest. When he punched out, it was as if the sun and moon were reversing, and the black tortoise was breaking out of the water. The aura of the black tortoise covered the entire area. Yang Wu's unstoppable momentum forced Mo Halua to retreat again and again. Even Mo Halua was unable to stop it. Mo Halua used his martial arts to fight back. He couldn't lose to this kid. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to show his face. Mo Halua tossed out another godly item. It was a broken copper lid. It didn't look like much, but under the influence of his power, it became a godly lid that could cover the sky and the earth. Its infinite brilliance could crush everything. This was an amazing, godly weapon. Its power was terrifying. With this godly weapon, Mo Halua had killed countless strong living beings. This was definitely a true god-level broken weapon. It could still use a bit of true god-level power. You're using your trump card? Then, I'll let you have a look at mine. Yang Wu roared. He finally activated the power of his immortal root. His combat power increased rapidly. It was far beyond the power he had just used. His body was filled with energy. Beams of energy fell from the sky. They gathered into the power of 100 stars. They turned into the power of the crescent moon. Then, he punched out another powerful punch. This punch was invincible. It landed heavily on the godly cover. Dang! Dang! A deafening sound was heard. Heaven and earth were shaking. Mo Halua was so shocked that his jaw almost dropped. This was a true god-level broken weapon. Even a top immortal state living being wouldn't dare to take it head-on. Yang Wu took it head-on with his bare hands. This was too overbearing. Explode. Yang Wu's blood was boiling. He found a flaw in the godly weapon. Once again, he activated his full power and punched the godly cover. The godly cover couldn't withstand the power of his punch and was shattered into pieces. Pung! The godly cover exploded. Pieces of the godly weapon flew out. Mo Halua suffered from the backlash. He coughed out a mouthful of blood and fell back. Yang Wu followed him like a shadow. A godly weapon appeared in his hand. It was the Dragon Phoenix Divine Sword. It was an innate godly sword. He slashed it at Mo Halua. Mo Halua raised his scythe to block, but it was still cut in half by the Dragon Phoenix Divine Sword. The Dragon Phoenix Divine Sword slashed down, trying to kill Mo Halua. Mo Halua was scared out of his wits. Another godly item flew out from his body and blocked Yang Wu's attack. "Hurry up and help me," Emohalua yelled. The other living beings from Yin Gate were still in a daze. "Quick, go help Elder Emo," Liang Yameng shouted at the living beings around him. Only then did these creatures take action one after another, wanting to help Yang Wu escape. Unfortunately, they were still too late. A black walk came crashing down. Fueled by immortal chi, its crushing power was terrifying. Emohalua couldn't even block it. The black walk smashed his godly body into pieces. "No!" Emohalua shouted in panic. However, no matter what he did, it was useless. His body and soul were both crushed. A high-level godly general fell. The living beings from Yin Gate were all scared out of their wits. Yang Wu's attack was too strong. How were they supposed to fight him? Yang Wu grabbed the black walk and smashed it at the living beings from Yin Gate. The black walk seemed to have transformed into a huge crow. It cried out in alarm, and in the blink of an eye, it was above their heads, enveloping them together. The living beings all used their strongest power to block it. If they couldn't block it, they would die. How could these creatures' strength and divine weapons compare to the black pot? They were completely suppressed, leaving them scared to death. "Young Master Liang, we can't hold on any longer. Think of something. Young Master Liang, don't hide anymore. Save us." The living beings could only place their hopes on Liang Yameng. Liang Yameng must have a trump card. Otherwise, he wouldn't be worthy of his title as the son of the Vice Sect Master. "Here's a godly decree," Liang Yameng shouted as a divine decree tore apart. A powerful force swept out and condensed into a figure. That majestic force blocked the power of the Black Walk. This was a true, godly decree and also Liang Yameng's protective talisman. Yang Wu's eyelids twitched. He shouted, "So what if you're a true god? I'll still suppress you." He seemed to have gone mad. He pulled out all the power of his immortal foundation and poured it into the Black Walk. The Black Walk's weapon spirit's power surged, and the giant crow continued to press down. "How dare you? The true gods will clone," shouted. His power was terrifying. It swept out in all directions, and his voice was deafening. He wanted to use his own power to overturn the Black Walk. Unfortunately, after a large amount of immortal chi gathered, the Black Walk exploded with the terrifying power of an innate true god weapon and continued to press down. Even the true gods will clone was crushed inch by inch. Liang Yameng and the other living beings were completely dumbfounded. They thought that the appearance of a true, godly decree could save them. Now, it seemed like they thought too much. "Run. No, we can't escape. Let's work together to overturn it. Damn it, he wants to catch us all in one fell swoop." The living beings were completely panicking. They wanted to escape from the Black Walk's range, but couldn't do it. "I don't want to die. I don't want to die," Liang Yameng screamed. The divine weapon on his body exploded and gathered all his power. He attacked with the other living beings to overturn the Black Walk. The Black Walk had the power to suppress and rebound. If their attacks couldn't exceed the power of the Black Walk, not only would they not be able to overturn the Black Walk, they would also be reflected by the Black Walk. These living beings were completely miserable. Yang Wu was determined to eliminate them. He drew out the power of the immortal root and multiplied the power of the Black Walk. It was comparable to the power of a peak immortal. No one could stop it. Even the true gods will clone exploded. What reason did they have to not die? Pooh! Pooh! One by one, the living beings were crushed and exploded. There was no suspense at all. Even Liang Yameng was completely crushed to death. When Yang Wu killed this group of living beings, the fierce Dragonhawks were all scared out of their wits. A few of the fierce Dragonhawks were already killed by Qi Jin. They were no match for Qi Jin. Now, they didn't dare to stay. After a few long screeches, they quickly fled. Qi Jin caught up with 2 fierce Dragonhawks and killed them on the spot. The rest escaped. Yang Wu's energy was drained. He sat on a Black Walk and breathed heavily. He smiled and said, "So good, so good." During this period of time, he had been hunted down. This time, he could finally vent his anger. In addition, he also found that the power of his immortal root had greatly increased. It was more than 10 times stronger than before. This was because his cultivation level increased, and he refined the remaining immortal energy in the secret realm of the alchemy furnace. He put away the black walk and cleaned up the battlefield. Suddenly, he found a token among the spoils of war. After examining it for a moment, he didn't think much of it and put it away. Then, he once again headed towards Luo Manor City. Chapter 1659. The Luo Qi Society. This was a huge event for the youths, and it was very influential in the Luo state. The Luo Manor opened up an exclusive space for these youths to discuss ancient orders and spar. Many powerful beings arrived at the Luo Qi Society. They showed their badges and were welcomed into the Luo Qi Society by the beautiful maidservants. Other than humans, there were also beings from other races. As long as they were young and outstanding enough, they could enter with their badges. Wuji Sek's divine son Gu Bufan and divine daughter He Tsalian have arrived. Tranquil Pill Sek's alchemist Shui Mingming and Yu Xiaojia have arrived. 9 deities Sek's fire god and water fairy have arrived. Following the greeting of the attendants, divine sons and goddesses arrived one after another. There were also many top-notch divine sons and saintesses. Their statuses weren't low either. Luo Mushin, Luo Fahai, and some other outstanding youths from the Luo family were interacting with the guests. Although the Luo Qi Society was mainly about Luo Lian, the Luo family thought that it was about making friends with the younger generation of other forces. Luo Lian was just an excuse. Some time ago, an incredible genius appeared and took the weapons left behind by true god Yu Yan. He even took the inheritance of the alchemy secret realm. It's a pity that he died in the Forbidden God grounds. Otherwise, the Luo Lian Society would be much more lively. Someone sighed. Yeah, I heard that he was a guest of the Luo Manor. Why couldn't they protect him? Another being said. There were too many people who wanted that guy's life. The Luo Manor couldn't save him in time. Some of the beings here didn't care about the Luo Manor's reputation and mentioned that the Luo Manor couldn't protect Yongwu. These beings had extraordinary backgrounds and weren't afraid of the Luo Manor. Some of the other forces had worried looks on their faces. They were afraid that these guys would stir up trouble. They were forces that had participated in the killing of Yongwu. Although the people who had killed Yongwu were all dead, they didn't know if the Luo Manor would let it go. The people of the Luo Manor didn't bother about it. Although Yongwu was a guest invited by the previous mansion master, he had never made any contributions to the Luo Manor. He had even caused quite a commotion in the Luo Manor. Therefore, the people of the Luo Manor didn't feel anything about his death. As more and more living beings arrived, more and more people mentioned Yongwu. In the past few months, this was the hottest topic. A living being shamelessly boasted, "If I meet him, I'll smash him into a pulp with a single slap." I heard that many powers tried to surround and kill him, but he still managed to escape into the Forbidden Land. He's just too useless. Another creature said, "Haha, I heard that he has quite a few true God's items on him. If he wants to escape, it's normal that he can't stop him. What a pity for those inheritances and divine items. I won't allow you to talk about young master like that. He's definitely still alive." A dissatisfied voice rang out. Everyone was attracted by the voice, and their gazes landed on the girl. They saw a cute girl pouting in dissatisfaction. Her beautiful eyes were filled with a thick mist, and tears could fall at any time. She was an adorable beauty with a voluptuous figure. Many living beings were attracted to her. Beside the girl, there was an extremely noble young man who stood in front of her and shouted, "What are you looking at? Haven't you seen a beautiful girl before? Be careful that I don't gouge your eyes out." The young man's words immediately angered everyone. "Where did you come from? Tell us your name, and we'll see if we can afford to offend you." "That's right. If your strength isn't enough to make us retreat, this little girl will belong to us." "Are your dog eyes blind? Can't you even recognize me? Qian Duo Duo?" The young man shouted with a face full of anger. "Haha, this name is really cheap. Qian Duo Duo sounds better than Qian Duo Duo." A creature laughed mockingly. That's right. Qian Duo Duo sounds better. What Qian Duo Duo? This name is really vulgar. It's not just a normal vulgar name," another creature said. You're pissing me off. Someone slap them. The young man was extremely angry and gave the order. However, after he gave the order, no one stood up for him. Only then did he regain his senses. This was not his family's territory, but the Luo Manor's territory. His order was useless. This time, it attracted another round of laughter. The young man was a little embarrassed. The girl said faintly, "You don't understand how powerful young master is. He's definitely still alive and will definitely return." The creatures here did not argue with the girl. In their eyes, this girl was just an infatuated girl. The Luo Chi gathering was finally about to begin. In an instant, in a corner of the Luo Chi gathering, 3 sparkling and translucent lotuses bloomed. Each lotus was suffused with a divine aura, filling the entire space with a thick fragrance. All the creatures held their breaths as greed flashed in their eyes. A single Luo lotus was one more chance of survival. It was obvious how valuable it was. A powerhouse from the Luo Manor said faintly, "This time, the Luo Manor will give up 3 Luo lotuses. Young heroes, each of you can take them with your own abilities. However, it's best if there's no killing, so as not to hurt everyone's harmony." There were quite a number of young elites here, and they were all well-known figures from their respective regions. If they really wanted to snatch the treasures, even if swords and sabers had no eyes, it wouldn't be strange if someone lost their life here. The Luo Manor's expert was just saying a few words. Without waiting for the creatures to make the first move, the Luo Manor's people said, "Everyone, you can't rush over together. You'll destroy the Luo Lotus. Those who are not as strong as others should just back off. Only those who are strong can move forward. It will depend on everyone's abilities." These words were obviously reminding everyone to control themselves. If they wanted to take the Luo Lotus, they would have to rely on their own abilities. They had to come out on top and convince everyone. Luo Mushin took the lead and rushed to the surface of the pool. She said to the creatures, "I'm not talented, but I'm willing to take the lead and learn from everyone." As a member of the Luo family, it was natural for her to take the lead. "Big Sister Luo, this little brother seeks your guidance." A handsome young man came out and responded. This young man had a strong background. He was a disciple of a large force. Although he had not reached the Jade Moon Realm, he had the combat strength of the Jade Moon Realm. "You're no match for me." Luo Mushin smiled. "We'll only know after we try." The young man shouted and attacked Luo Mushin with his spear. Once an expert made a move, they would know. The spear shot out like a dragon. In the blink of an eye, it was in front of Luo Mushin's throat. He did not show any mercy at all. Just as the spear was about to pierce Luo Mushin's throat, she put 2 fingers together and clamped the spearhead, causing his spear to miss. "Kill!" the young man shouted. He poured all his strength into the spear, wanting to force Luo Mushin back. However, she did not move at all. This made him extremely sad. He could only admit defeat. "You admit it." Luo Mushin smiled. Then she said, "Who else wants to try? I'll do it." A foreign race creature responded and rushed over. The weapon in his hand was aimed at Luo Mushin's head. Before the creature's attack landed on her, she had already stabbed out with her sword and pressed it against the creature's heart, forcing it to retreat. Luo Mushin was indeed the representative of the Luo clan's younger generation. After she took control of the situation, she made a good start. Many creatures did not fight to the death. They all stopped after a certain point. In addition, other creatures also appeared to fight for the other 2 Luo lotuses. They were Gu Bufan of the Wuji sect and Hui Shinsi of the 9 divine sects. They were both top figures. However, it did not mean that they were the strongest. There were also other creatures with extraordinary strength. They all appeared. In a corner, Qian Duo, the young man who was ignored by others, said to the girl beside him, "Little man, I'll get a Luo lotus and give it to you." The girl called Little Man replied, "No, I'm only here to find young master. Your young master might not be here. Even if he's here, he might be hiding. Many people don't want to see him," Qian Duo replied. Whoever dares to go against young master is going against me. I swear I'll never forgive him." The girl snorted. She paused for a moment and said, "By the way, young master is an alchemist. He'll definitely like this Luo lotus. I'll get it for him. Leave this matter to me. Duo shouted and rushed out. Duo's strength was not bad, but it was not his greatest reliance. This guy directly activated a top-grade divine weapon and unleashed a powerful threat. His target was one of the Luo lotuses. How dare you? Duo's action was a little against the rules. Some creatures attacked him. A huge palm slapped at Duo. At the same time, other attacks were also directed at him. These powerful attacks were enough to kill any god-level creature. In their opinion, it was enough to kill Duo. However, when these powers landed on Duo's body, he had a powerful defensive power that blocked all of these attacks. You guys aren't even worthy of tickling me, Duo replied excitedly. He even looked at Little Man, hoping that Little Man could see his heroic side. Unfortunately, she didn't even look in his direction, causing him to be extremely disappointed. At this moment, a powerful force broke through his defense and sent him flying with a punch. Blood spurted out of his nose. This is not a place for children to play house. Go back, lest you lose your life, a cold young man replied. This was a godchild from an ancient force. His name was Huang Pingjun, and he was extremely popular in the Luo state. You dare to look down on me? I'll show you how powerful I am. Duo shouted loudly and instantly threw out more than 10 high-level divine weapons, all of them flying towards Huang Pingjun. Everyone was stunned when they saw this scene. Duo was really Duo. Chapter 1660. Duo naturally had an extraordinary background. Otherwise, he wouldn't be so arrogant. Each of these divine weapons was extraordinarily valuable. They weren't something that ordinary people could take out. If someone else had one, they would already be extremely happy. Yet, he tossed out these divine weapons as if they were toys. Not only that, the divine armor on his body was also extraordinary. Other than its astonishing defensive power, it could also greatly increase his combat strength. This was a rare divine armor. Huang Pingjun's realm was above Duo's, but he couldn't withstand Duo's many divine weapons. He couldn't resist at all and could only retreat unhappily. He said with a livid face, "Are you from a Qian family?" Isn't it too late to find out now? Duo raised his face and said arrogantly. Now, the surrounding living beings looked at him in a different light. The Qian family was inextricably linked to the divine money merchants. They were incomparably wealthy, had raised countless experts, and had done countless businesses. Only such a family would have someone like Duo, who used a divine weapon to force a godchild to retreat. The Qian family was only stronger than the Luo family. After hearing Duo's affirmation, Huang Pingjun could only swallow his anger. The force he was in couldn't be compared to them, so there was no point in continuing to fight. Duo went out again. He still used his old tricks and relied on divine weapons to force back the enemies. He forced back one young expert after another. There were also some foreign creatures who didn't care about Duo's identity and fought with him. This time, Duo was unlucky. This foreign creature's combat strength wasn't inferior to any divine son. Moreover, he had a divine weapon that restrained him, so he couldn't win again and again like before. This foreign creature was just as famous in the Luo province. He was the crown prince of the Golden Lion clan. His golden body was indestructible, and his golden aura was overwhelming. He used his absolute strength to suppress Duo to the point where he was unable to fight back. You're embarrassing yourself with your little strength. You really don't know what you're talking about. The crown prince of the Golden Lion clan shouted. He punched down, smashing a divine seal and aiming for Duo's head. It's over. Duo had no way to avoid this punch. He could only close his eyes and wait for his defeat. His entire body was protected by divine weapons, so he was not afraid of being killed by Fang Jingji. At the critical moment, a figure dashed out and exchanged a punch with the Golden Lion Crown Prince. Bang! When the two fists collided, a muffled sound rang out. The Crown Prince of the Golden Lion clan was actually pushed back. All of the living beings focused their gazes and discovered that it was the young woman known as Little Man. The Golden Lion clan's crown prince, Shur-Chong, narrowed his eyes as he looked at the delicate woman in front of him. A look of surprise flashed across his face as he said, "What great strength! You have a barbaric chi on you. Are you from the barbarian clan?" "It doesn't matter where I come from, as long as I can defeat you," Little Man replied confidently. All these years of training were not in vain. Although she was innocent, she was also clear about the situation. Moreover, the young master had taught her many things, and she had always remembered them deeply in her heart. "You talk big. I'll eat you in one bite." Shur-Chong laughed and opened his mouth to envelop Little Man. "Little Man, back off. Let me deal with him." Chin Duo wanted to step forward to help Little Man, but Little Man had already made her move. Barbaric Lion Fist. Little Man had an incomparably pure barbarian bloodline. She had also obtained some opportunities that belonged to her. Her strength had reached the peak of the Saint Realm. With her brute strength, she could easily take on god-level living beings. Lion against lion. It was a matter of who came out on top. Shur-Chong was already in the demon god realm. He thought that he could forcibly suppress Little Man, but when they really started fighting, he discovered that her delicate body was filled with terrifying, explosive power. Punch after punch, it was as if the barbarian god was attacking. He was forced to retreat. What domineering brute strength! Barbarians are all so barbaric. Their race has nothing but brute strength. What else can they do? The barbarians had a very high status in the god realm. Although they were not very welcomed by the other races, it was because their race had once done something that wanted to sweep across the god realm. Later, they were expelled by the other emperor clans and forced to return to the savage state. Little Man had already awakened the 6th level of her bloodline. Otherwise, she would not be able to fight these god-level living beings. Shur-Chong's strength was still a level higher. After a series of battles, Little Man was sent flying by Shur-Chong's Lion Fist. Just as Shur-Chong was about to give chase, Little Man shook the bell on her arm. Suddenly, several powerful god-level living beings appeared. "Beast taming bell." Shur-Chong's eyes narrowed. There was a flash of shock. "Go." Little Man ordered the powerful god-level living beings beside her. Little Man's strongest talent was beast taming. The beast taming bell on her arm was a true god-level treasure. It could store the monsters and beasts under her control. It was convenient to bring them along in battle. Normally, living beings could only use their own strength to obtain the Luo Lian. Little Man had used powerful living beings and exceeded the age limit. This was already against the rules. They could not take the Luo Lian anymore. As expected, the people of the Luo Manor ordered that Little Man's beast taming be prohibited. This angered Little Man so much that she could do nothing. "I'm so useless. I couldn't get a Luo Lian for young master." Little Man said sadly. "Little Man, it's all my fault. I'm useless. Don't blame yourself." Chin Duo comforted Little Man. Little Man shook her head and did not want to speak. She still felt that she was useless. At this time, another young man walked out slowly. He was filled with a scholarly aura. He held an ancient book in his hand. He wore a white shirt and had a faint smile on his face. He was like a fairy descending to the mortal world. His aura was outstanding. No one knew where this young man came from, but he immediately became the focus of the crowd. His scholarly aura seemed out of place in a world filled with martial arts. However, he was very pleasing to the eye. "Young master?" "No, he's not young master. He looks like him." Little Man saw the young man and exclaimed. The young man in white looked 60 to 70% similar to Yang Wu. However, he was not as masculine as Yang Wu. Instead, he looked more scholarly. Shur-Chong looked at the young man in white and said sarcastically, "Look at your weak body. You look like a girl. Don't come over and embarrass yourself. Your aura is too strong. Why don't you be my mount? I'll teach you more powerful Lion Clan techniques. How about that?" The young man in white looked at Shur-Chong and said seriously, "My Lion Clan has no aura of violence. How can we dominate a region? Get lost, you ignorant brat." Shur-Chong replied. He opened his mouth and spat out a terrifying lion's roar. The powerful sound wave went straight into the young man's ears. The young man in white turned a deaf ear. He closed the book and waved it gently. Blue runes flew out from the book. He shouted, "Seal." The blue runes merged together to form the word seal. They flew towards Shi Chang's mouth. The word seal was like the wind. It was impossible to guard against it. In the blink of an eye, it entered Shi Chang's throat. There was an inexplicable force that sealed his dark waves. No matter how he screamed, he could not make a sound. Shi Chang panicked. The lion's roar was one of the strongest supernatural powers of their clan. Now that he had become mute, what should he do? Shi Chang's golden demon aura surged. He punched at the young man in white. As long as he killed the young man in front of him, the power that sealed him would disappear. Freeze! The young man in white pointed at the book again. The power of the runes condensed and froze Shi Chang's body. Shi Chang's strength was shocking. Even a high-level immortal state creature might not be able to freeze him. The young man in front of him could make him lose his power with just a word. What kind of strength was this? All the creatures were scared out of their wits. Someone screamed, This must be some kind of demonic technique. Did some old freak sneak in here? Even a true god would not be able to match up to this level of strength. What a strange ability. Lord of the Luo Manor, hurry up and check his body. After a questioning voice sounded, the power of the mirror shone toward the young man in white. The young man in white stood still. Instead, he looked at the mirror light. His spotless body appeared. The person controlling the divine mirror cried out, "What a spotless body! No, it should be the Linglong divine body." After the voice sounded, all the creatures were stunned again. The Linglong divine body was a physique that could be called a divine body. Many creatures desired it. The young man in front of them had such a physique. It was really enviable. Under the divine mirror, the young man in white's bone age was determined. He was not even 100 years old. He was not even 50 years old. In a tall pavilion in the Luo Manor, one could see everything that was happening in Luo Qi from afar. One of the beautiful girls stared at the young man in white and muttered, "Why do they look so similar? They are not the same person. Could it be that it's a coincidence?" "He's the one who looks like Little Wu," the young man beside the girl asked. They were Du Xiaojing and Di Xian from the Imperial Hall. The girl did not reply. Instead, she flew out of the pavilion and headed toward Luo Qi. "Princess, do you want to join the fun?" a voice asked. "Don't worry. I don't want Luo Lian. I just want to find out something," Du Xiaojing replied. Di Xian was helpless. He could only follow Du Xiaojing and land beside Luo Qi after the two of them appeared. They attracted a lot of attention. However, with the young man in white in front of them, their attention was taken away. The young man in white did not care about them. He stepped on the surface of the pool step by step, causing the phenomenon of lotuses with each step. It was really amazing. Those who came to stop him were all stunned by his words. No one could get close to him. Some creatures directly swung their divine weapons at him, using long-range attacks to disturb him. He flipped open the pages of the book, and endless runes formed chains, blocking all of the divine weapons. "I'll take a Luo Lian." The young man in white leaned over and easily picked a Luo Lian. Chapter 1661. His voice was calm, but there was no room for doubt. The young man in white's charisma shocked the crowd. They had seen many people with extraordinary combat power, but they had never seen such an incredible young man. A knowledgeable person exclaimed, "Could it be that this is a literary aura? Since ancient times, there has been no first place in literature and no second place in martial arts. Who would have such a terrifying literary aura in an era where martial arts were flourishing and literary aura was weak? Could it be the literary star?" The creatures kept guessing, but no one dared to stop the young man in white from taking the lotus. In their opinion, the young man in white had the ability to take the lotus. The other creatures fought even more fiercely for the other two lotuses. After the young man in white successfully took the lotus, he returned to Luo Qi and was stopped by Du Xiaojing. The little man could not help but approach him. There were also some young female prodigies who had their eyes on the young man in white. He was worthy of their initiative. However, in front of Du Xiaojing, they seemed to pale in comparison. "What's your name? Where are you from?" Du Xiaojing asked the young man in white. The young man in white looked at Du Xiaojing and smiled faintly. It doesn't matter who I am or where I'm from. Just treat me as a passerby. Is that so? Do you know Yangwu? Du Xiaojing asked again. The little man also said excitedly, Yes, yes, do you know young Master Yangwu? I heard young Master mention that he has a younger brother called Yangwen. The young man in white finally showed a hint of emotion. You know my brother? In an instant, the two women's expressions became joyful. You're Yangwu's younger brother? Du Xiaojing said in disbelief. You must be young Master's younger brother. You must be. You look so similar to him. Also, he mentioned that you're especially fond of reading and that you're the top scholar in liberal arts, right? The little man shouted while dancing. There was a young man behind each of them, and they all looked displeased. Clearly, they did not want to see the two women so close to the young man in white. Yes, I'm Yangwen, Yangwu's younger brother. I heard that my brother was killed, so I came to take a look. Then, he added, I believe that my brother will be fine. Is he your brother? Someone took out a portrait and showed it to Yangwen. Yangwen glanced at the portrait and nodded. Yes. So he is the younger brother of the guy who obtained the inheritance of real god Yu Yan and the alchemy furnace secret territory. The person holding the portrait shouted. What? That guy's little brother dares to come here and steal Luoyan? Who gave him such courage? An elder of my Dark Pill Palace died in the hands of Wu Ho. Today, let his younger brother pay with his life. That's right. My family also had an elder who died in the God-forbidding grounds. That guy was a scourge. His younger brother was also nothing. They all deserved to be killed. After Yang Wen's identity was exposed, it immediately caused public outrage. Yang Wen wasn't afraid. He walked around the two ladies and headed towards Shichong. At that moment, Shichong had just broken through the seal. He roared crazily, Be asterisk star brat. I will definitely tear you apart alive. At the same time, the living beings in other directions also broke through the seal. They all stared at Yang Wen furiously, as though they wanted to tear him into pieces. They were all very strong. However, they were sealed by Yang Wen for no reason. To them, it was a great humiliation. Hurry up and bring Luoyan over. Otherwise, don't blame me for being rude. I was careless just now. I won't do it again. Hurry up and kneel down and admit your mistake. What kind of demonic technique are you using? Hurry up and tell us. Otherwise, you won't be able to leave this place. The living beings surrounded Yang Wen, not allowing him to leave. A gentleman uses his mouth and not his fists. You guys better be polite. Yang Wen looked at the living beings calmly and said, He's mocking us for being boorish, a living being from a different race said. If he doesn't hand over Luoyan, we'll twist his head off, another living being said. Scram! Du Xiaojing said unhappily when she saw the living beings threatening Yang Wen. Her angry look was still very moving. However, the terrifying pressure emitted from her body made the living beings wary. It was as though an emperor was pressing down on their heads, making them feel intimidated. Yang Wen smiled at her and said, This is my business. I'll reason with them. Du Xiaojing blinked her big eyes and looked at Yang Wen. Are you sure? Yes, I'm sure. I believe they're reasonable people, Yang Wen said seriously. Little man said with an infatuated look, Young Master Yang Wen is the same as young Master Yangwu. They're both very confident people. Qian Duo said unhappily, He's just a weak scholar. You're not allowed to talk about young Master Yang Wen like that. Little man glared at Qian Duo unhappily. Qian Duo didn't feel good. He had been trying to get on little man's good side, but the little man didn't take him seriously. He couldn't let it go. Du Xiaojing was a very straightforward person. She stepped aside and let Yang Wen deal with it. She thought to herself, Little Wu's brother should be stronger than Little Wu. Judging from his aura, Yang Wen gave people a mysterious feeling. His scholarly aura wasn't something others could compare with. There were a dozen living beings surrounding Yang Wen. There were the Golden Lion race, the Six-Eared God race, and the Night Blood race of the Demon race. Most of them were humans. Those living beings were extremely powerful. They had all entered the God level. If they weren't divine sons, then they were divine sons. Their powers weren't to be underestimated. I'll try again. Let's see if you can stop me. Lion Chong shouted and threw out a lion fist. The sky was filled with golden light. Others couldn't open their eyes. The domineering fist force was aimed at Yang Wen's head. Even a high-level, god-level living being might not be able to block it. Yang Wen looked at Lion Chong and said calmly, "Stop." Characters flew out of his mouth. The blue characters contained an inexplicable power. They instantly turned into huge characters and bound Lion Chong. It was also at this moment that two living beings launched sneak attacks on Yang Wen. Yang Wen smiled again and said, "Come and study with me. Man is born with a good nature. Similar in nature, different in habits. If you don't teach, your nature will change. The way of teaching is to specialize." All of a sudden, runes flew out one after another. Each of them contained an indescribable power, forming a library that surrounded the dozen or so creatures. They were all stunned. They had seen all kinds of battlefields, but this was the first time they had seen such a field. Every character landed in their divine court. They couldn't get rid of it even if they wanted to, even if there were divine objects in the divine court. Each and every word contained the great Tao of enlightenment. Even the three-character classic that everyone had read when they were young was read by Yang Wen. It was as if a supreme literary sage was speaking. It carried the Tao laws that they had comprehended. It made them understand and understand better. Their close friends and relatives kept flashing through their minds. They thought of how they had been insulted and beaten by them. They were instantly ashamed. They burst into tears, feeling extremely sad in their hearts. "Father, I let you down. I'm unfilial. I shouldn't have left you. God, am I really wrong? For the ultimate martial arts, I killed my lover and child. I gave up all kinship. I should be heartless. Why do I feel heartache? It's too painful. Don't read anymore. Don't read anymore. Young master, please accept me. From now on, I'm willing to follow you. I'll study hard, understand things, and be a good person." The spirits of these creatures had completely collapsed. Some were blaming themselves, some were belittling themselves, and some directly declared their allegiance to Yang Wen. None of them could escape from the field of books. The creatures in the surroundings were extremely shocked. They wondered if Yang Wen was an eminent monk who had attained the Tao and was trying to convert these creatures. To them, it was obviously just an ordinary ancient scripture. However, they still heard a different feeling. It was as if this was what reading was. Only then could one truly understand every word. Even they felt as if they had been enlightened. If Yang Wen's power was directed at them, they probably couldn't help but submit. When Yang Wen finished reading the three-character classic, these creatures had already lost their desire to fight. Shi Chong and the other three creatures were willing to follow Yang Wen. The other creatures were still in a state of self-blame and couldn't come back to their senses. "I'll give you a book. Read it well. Once you understand it, you'll know how to be a good person," Yang Wen said. A book flew out and landed in the hands of these creatures. These creatures held the book as if it was a treasure. They bowed deeply to Yang Wen and said, "Thank you, young master, for giving us this book." Little man revealed a look of worship and said, "Young Master Yang Wen is so powerful. Really powerful. I feel like he's even more powerful than young Master Yang Wu. TCH, what's so powerful about him? He's just using a soul technique to control these idiots," Qian Duo said unhappily. "If you continue to talk about young Master Yang Wen like that, I won't be friends with you anymore," little man said firmly. Qian Duo felt wronged. Di Xian, who was standing to the side, had a look of surprise and said, "Attaining the Tao through reading. Interesting." Du Xiaojing gave him a thumbs up and said, "Not bad, not bad." As expected of little Wu's younger brother. "I'll call you little Wenzi from now on." "Motzi?" Yang Wen's face darkened, and he almost fell to the ground. "How dare you enlighten our crown prince? Are you tired of living? This person is the younger brother who obtained true God Yu Yan's inheritance. Let's take him down together. It's a very strange demonic skill. Once it falls into his book, it will be controlled. Let's take him down and find out what's going on." In an instant, the other creatures took out powerful weapons and wanted to work together to deal with Yang Wen. "You're not allowed to hurt young Master Yang Wen," little man said first. "No one can protect him today. My brother died because of his brother, someone from Dark Elixir Palace said with a murderous aura. At that moment, Du Xiaojing's voice sounded from behind the creatures. Who dares to touch little Wenzi? I'll kick his balls. Chapter 1662. Du Xiaojing had always been so domineering and vulgar, which did not match her appearance at all. Di Xian's face twitched a few times. Nobody knew if he wanted to laugh or was embarrassed. Little Man looked at Du Xiaojing with admiration and said, "This lady is so domineering." Qian Duoduo glanced at Du Xiaojing with fear in his eyes. He dare not look at her anymore. "Little girl, you sure talk big. Aren't you afraid?" A creature glared at Small Crystal and shouted. Before he finished speaking, a figure flashed, and he flew out. What followed was a miserable scream that sounded like a pig being slaughtered. His screams didn't stop. Ow! After he landed, he covered his lower body and rolled on the ground as if he was in great pain. Du Xiaojing had really kicked his balls. All the living beings felt chills down their lower bodies. They were afraid that they would end up like that living being. Yangwen could not help but laugh. A gentleman uses his mouth, not his fists. Du Xiaojing quickly added, "I'm a lady, not a gentleman." Yangwen was speechless. He had read millions of books, but he could not match this lady's words. He could only smile in silence. "All right, little one, come with me. I don't think they'll dare to do anything to you." Du Xiaojing waved at Yangwen. Yangwen came back to his senses and responded, "You are?" Although he had not left the literature hall for many years, it did not mean that he was a fool who would follow someone after being coaxed. "I'm your sister-in-law," Du Xiaojing blurted out. Yangwen, Little Man, and Di Xian's mouths were wide open. Their expressions were exaggerated. Luo Muxin, Luo Fahai, and the other outstanding young people in the Luo residence vaguely knew Du Xiaojing's identity. They were extremely shocked, too. With Du Xiaojing's status, his words carried a lot of power. Du Xiaojing was a little embarrassed by their stares, so she quickly corrected herself. "I'm taking care of little Wu. You're his brother, so of course, I'll take care of you. Let's go." "Why are you spacing out?" Yangwen also wanted to know where his brother was, so he followed Du Xiaojing without thinking. He could sense that he could see his brother here. All the creatures knew that Du Xiaojing had an extraordinary identity. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to come and go as he pleased in this place. They didn't dare to test his patience anymore. Little Man also followed over. She said to Du Xiaojing, "I'm young Master Yangwu's maidservant. Can I go with you?" Du Xiaojing glanced at the little man and smiled sweetly. "Little Wu is so lucky to have a maid like you. Come with me." "Thank you. When I see young Master, I will definitely put in a good word for you in front of him." "Haha, Little Wu has always known how good I am." The battle continued once again. There were still 2 Luolian flowers that had not been taken away. Other than Luo Muxin and Luo Fahai, there were also Gu Bufon, Hua Shensi, Water Fairy, Xue Mingming, Freezing Ice. The other creatures consciously retreated, not daring to provoke them for fear of being killed. These creatures were all on par with each other in terms of strength. They all had their own trump cards. Unless it was a life-and-death battle, it would be difficult to determine the final victor. It was truly shocking that there were still creatures who dared to intervene in the battle at this time. "Who dares take our Luolian?" Gu Bufon shouted. "How dare you steal food from the tiger's mouth, right in front of us?" Huashensi also shouted. Another living being directly attacked the living being who wanted to take advantage of the situation. A shocking bone spear pierced through the air and went straight for the golden creature. The golden creature swung his arm and knocked the bone spear away. He was so fast that he turned into a sun and continued to attack the Luolian. "Stop right there and then." Icy Cold from the Yin School shouted. He formed an ice blade and slashed down. The extreme cold was unbearable. In another direction, there was also a creature holding a pair of hammers and smashing toward the golden creature. These were all deity-level creatures. When they worked together, they were very powerful and should be able to stop the golden creature. To everyone's surprise, the golden creature was incredibly powerful. A golden sword pierced out and blocked all of the attacks. Boom! Boom! The golden creature blocked the attacks of several creatures on its own. It even revealed its face and taunted, "All of you, come at me together. Don't waste my time." The golden creature was extremely mighty. The golden fire chi around, it was extremely threatening. It was like a golden crow or a divine firebird. It carried a shocking aura. "Who do you think you are? You're not worthy of us working together. I can kill you." Freezing Ice shouted and flapped the wings on his back. He rushed forward with a burst of cold chi. The ice blade in his hand slashed down again. It contained the power of a mid-level deity state creature and slashed at the golden creature. This was just a casual attack from Freezing Ice, but it contained such a powerful force. If he attacked with all his strength, the golden creature might not be able to withstand it. The golden creature turned into a golden fire sword in its hand. It also slashed back, cutting off Freezing Ice's attack, and continued to attack. The sword attacked the world. The golden creature's sword technique was extremely powerful. It contained the sword Tao. The sky full of fire swords enveloped Freezing Ice, making it difficult for him to escape. Freezing Ice's eyes twitched. He felt the terrifying power of the divine fire was even more terrifying than his cold chi. He had to use all his strength to fight back. Unfortunately, the golden creature did not show any mercy after gaining the upper hand. It swung its sword again and again, causing the ice to scatter in all directions. Marks were left on its ice armor as it was heavily slashed away. In addition, the golden fire wrapped around Freezing Ice's body. It burned him until he cried out in pain. It was difficult to extinguish the golden fire. He shouted, It's the sun god fire." Ah! Freezing Ice was decisive enough. He immediately cut off the part of his body that was touched by the divine fire to prevent it from spreading to his entire body. Freezing Ice didn't die after losing half of his body. He was a god-level creature. After drinking the divine spring, his broken limbs grew back again. However, he was too embarrassed to challenge again. He had already lost this battle. "It's the Golden Crow tribe," Freezing Ice said with certainty. He was a creature of another tribe. He had extraordinary talent, but he still couldn't compare to the three-legged Golden Crow tribe. At this moment, another creature was fighting with the golden creature. The other party directly smashed down their divine weapons and exploded with extremely powerful combat power. The commotion caused was bigger and bigger. The golden creature's speed was unparalleled, and its firepower was also extremely shocking. It still forced the other creature to retreat. At this moment, Luo Fahai, Gu Bufan, Shui Mingming, and 3 other creatures attacked the golden creature at the same time. On the other side, Luo Mushin, Water Fairy, and a few other creatures were fighting for the other Luoyan. These 2 Luoyan would soon have an owner. The most exciting thing was that the golden creature fought against all of them alone. Luo Fahai, Gu Bufan, Shui Mingming, and the others were mostly still half-step god-level creatures. 2 of them had reached the god level. Even though they had very powerful amplification abilities, they were still a bit weaker than the golden creature. This golden creature was a god-level creature like them. It had already broken through the god level and was about to reach the mid-level god level. With such strength, it was indeed the best among these young creatures. Luo Fahai, Gut Bufan, and the others who hadn't broken through to the Jade Moon level were still at a disadvantage. Even if they had all kinds of divine weapons, they couldn't make up for the difference. Among these creatures, the most powerful one was Shui Mingming from the Dark Elixir Palace. Although he was an alchemist, he was a genius who cultivated both alchemy and martial arts. He had the body of alchemy fire and had been born with alchemy fire. He was extremely talented and was heavily nurtured by the Dark Elixir Palace. He had reached the mid-level god level before the age of 100. He was a true god-level alchemist. There were very few creatures who had reached the mid-level god level under the age of 100. It was enough to show how powerful Shui Mingming was. His realm was above the golden creature, and he thought he could kill it. Unfortunately, the golden creature was extremely talented, especially after revealing its identity as a member of the Golden Crow clan. The golden creature transformed into its true form and not only sent Luo Fahai, Gu Bufan, and the others flying, it also almost scratched Shui Mingming. "You evil creature, wait for me to take care of you." Shui Mingming looked like an ordinary young man, but the fighting power he exuded was shocking. He raised a cauldron, and the cauldron emitted a shocking devouring power that shrouded the golden creature. Heaven-devouring, condensing pill. The cauldron became incomparably huge, as if it had turned into a black hole that wanted to envelop the golden creature and refine it. Even high-level, god-level creatures couldn't escape from such a majestic, devouring power. Only top-level, god-level creatures could resist it. This was Shui Mingming's full strength. The golden being didn't dare to be careless. After he screeched, his entire body burned with golden flames, as if he had turned into a sun. Boundless swords condensed into a sphere and viciously slammed towards the cauldron. He didn't rush over with his true body. What rushed over was only his fire of the sun, the endless power of the sun's sword principle. Boom! Boom! Another series of explosions rang out. The cauldron was directly sent flying by the divine sword that contained the fire of the sun. Shui Mingming spat out blood and retreated. His face turned pale, and his expression was extremely ugly. The golden creature took the opportunity to rush toward the Luoyan and grabbed it in its mouth. It turned around and flew in a beautiful arc in a direction. All the creatures could only watch as another Luoyan was gone. They felt extremely sad. A Luoyan was equivalent to an extra life. It was extremely precious. They all had a chance, but unfortunately, they weren't as skilled as the golden creature. However, the golden creature didn't keep the Luoyan for himself. Instead, he came in front of someone and said respectfully, "Master, this is the Luoyan you wanted." All the creatures stared at that person in a daze. Chapter 1663. A three-legged golden crow defeated everyone present, and the Luoyan he obtained was actually given to someone else, and it was his master. The three-legged golden crow was as arrogant as a true dragon and a phoenix. Not everyone could subdue them. Most of the time, they would rather die than submit to them. Now that someone had subdued them, they could see that the person was extraordinary. When they saw the person's face clearly, everyone was stunned. A few months ago, a person had caused quite a commotion in Luo State. He had obtained true God Yu Yan's peerless divine weapon, and later became an emperor-level sacred pharmacist. He had even obtained the inheritance of the Cauldron's secret realm. At first, everyone thought that there were two people, but who knew that it was done by the same person. Now, this person had appeared once again. They wondered if they had seen a ghost. That person should have died in the Forbidden God Grounds. How did he come out alive? The Forbidden God Grounds was a place where many immortal-level living beings were buried. Even true God-level living beings would not easily get close to it. How did this person come out alive? Is that Xiao Wuzi? Du Xiaojing said excitedly when he saw that person. Yang Wu's eyes narrowed. His eyes were filled with a strange aura, as if he could see through everything. He wanted to confirm if that person was his brother, Yang Wu. That person was Yang Wu. However, he had appeared with the appearance of a martial marquis. He did not reveal his true face. It wasn't that he was afraid that something would happen to him. It was just that more people knew about his current appearance. After he had taken the examination to become an emperor-level alchemist, most people only recognized his face. Not many people had seen Yang Wu's original appearance. "Boss, you're not dead." Huoxinci shouted excitedly when he saw Yang Wu. Yang Wu took the Luo Lian and smiled at Huoxinci. "Do you really want me to die?" No. Boss, you're my benefactor. How could I want you to die? I'm now an inner disciple of the Medicine God Hall. It's all thanks to your guidance. Ha! Huoxinci flew towards Yang Wu and laughed happily. Not long ago, he had passed the Medicine God Palace's assessment and refined a fourth tribulation sacred pill, allowing him to join the Medicine God Palace. That's because your ability is outstanding. It has nothing to do with me, Yang Wu replied. No matter what, I'm still very grateful to boss. When you were forced to enter the Forbidden Godland, our 9-deity sect had also sent people to help you. Unfortunately, that place was too evil, and we were unable to do anything. Yes, I will keep this matter in mind. Let's go, it's boring here. Let's go out and drink. We can also go back to the Medicine God Palace. Senior sister, Nan, is very sad, but she has already gone back to the medicine god palace. Huashensi said enthusiastically. Where do you think you're going? You snatched the pill furnace secret realm's inheritance. You still haven't given everyone an explanation, someone reprimanded. That's right. He caused so many people to die in the god-forbidding grounds. We must give him an explanation. We cannot let him escape again. Real God Yu Yan's inheritance is with him, right? I remember now. The three-legged golden crow is the crimson gold prince. He was also subdued by him in the real God's tomb. All of a sudden, many living beings showed extremely strong hostility towards Yang Wu. The inheritance on Yang Wu's body was too much for them to bear. However, none of them dared to cause a ruckus. It was Luo Mansion's territory, and Yang Wu was Luo Mansion's guest. If they were to take action here, would the people of Luo Mansion interfere? There were still some people who didn't care about it. Shui Mingming from the Serene Elixir Palace adjusted his aura and shouted, "Thief, hand over the Pill Furnace Secret Realm's inheritance." Previously, Shui Mingming was also in the battle for the Pill Furnace Secret Realm. He had received a few fire talismans, but it was far from enough. Moreover, he had almost died in the secret realm. If it wasn't for the fact that he had a scapegoat, he would have died. He hated Yang Wu to the core, and he definitely wouldn't give Yang Wu a chance to escape. Those who participated in Yang Wu's gathering were all from the younger generation, and Shui Mingming was one of the best among the younger generation. He wasn't a match for Crimson Gold Prince, but he still dared to provoke Yang Wu. He was relying on the protector who came with him. That protector was a top godly state expert. Apart from that, other living things came with protectors. They didn't participate in the battle for Luo Lian and could enter as protectors. Hence, Luo Mansion couldn't refuse them. A loser shouldn't shout, Crimson Gold Prince said majestically. In this place, he had suppressed many geniuses and he was strong. Of course, if Crimson Gold Prince were to fight to the death, he wouldn't be able to get Luo Lian so easily. Do you think you can defeat me just because you defeated me by 1 or 2 moves? You won't be able to escape today. Protector Meng, please suppress this person, Shui Mingming replied and looked at a middle-aged protector who was silent beside him. Meng Jun was a top godly state expert of the Hidden Elixir Palace. He was protecting Shui Mingming, which showed how much importance the Hidden Elixir Palace placed on Shui Mingming. Besides that, Gu Bufan gave the order as well. Uncle, please capture this bastard. When Gu Bufan first met Yang Wu, he didn't like Yang Wu, and he even saw Yang Wu take away the peerless divine spear. Now that he saw him again, how could he let him go? Even though Yang Wu had changed his appearance, many people were already sure of Yang Wu's identity. Perhaps the thing that Yang Wu had obtained had already fallen into the hands of this person in front of them. A demon took a step forward and said, "Let me see what he's capable of. Why is he worth so many people here?" This creature had entered the demon god realm, and his body was surging with demon chi. He was a demon's son. He didn't join in the fight for Luo Lian because Luo Lian wasn't very useful to him. He just came to see the young experts of the human clan. For a moment, the atmosphere here was tense. The people of the Luo Manor said, "If you want to settle your personal grudges, please go outside. Don't cause trouble here." After all, this was the Luo Manor. If they didn't say anything, it wouldn't make sense. Yang Wu stretched and said, "The people who wanted to kill me are already dead. Do you still want to come and die? Isn't it good to live well? Why are you so stubborn? Cut the crap. We'll wait for you outside," Shui Mingming said and glanced at Meng Jun. He took the lead and left Luo Chi's space to block Yang Wu's escape route. The other creatures also left one after another to give the Luo Manor some face. Luo Mushin walked towards Yang Wu leisurely and asked, "Wu Ho, if you need any help, just let me know. This is the Luo Manor. No one dares to hurt the guests of the Luo Manor." Not only was Luo Mushin a beautiful woman, but she was also a woman who handled things gracefully. At this crucial moment, she supported Yang Wu. This also showed that the Luo family valued Yang Wu. Offending so many forces for a guest was not something that ordinary forces would dare to do. Yang Wu smiled and said, "Thank you for your kindness. I won't implicate the Luo Manor." I'll settle it myself. After a pause, he said, there seems to be one more Luo lotus that hasn't been taken yet. I'll go and take it first. Luo Mushin quickly stopped Yang Wu and said, you've already taken one. You can't take another one. Is that so? It was my mount that took it. Yang Wu touched his nose and said, even so, you can't take another one. Luo Mushin emphasized. As they were talking, the water fairy from the Nine Deities sect took the last Luo lotus. This water fairy was very pretty. She wore a white veil over her body, and her half-exposed arms glowed with a lustrous luster. Her exquisite figure was perfectly proportioned, and anyone who laid eyes on her would be mesmerized by her. She looked like a female fairy that was kneaded from water. She was perfect. The Nine Deities sects, Fire God and the Water Fairy, were both famous figures in the younger generation. The three Luo lotuses each had a master. Boss, what do you think of my sister? She has the water god body. If you win her heart, I'll give you my full support. The fire god winked at Yang Wu. Haha, there's a tiger in the house. I won't dare to flirt with other girls. Yang Wu looked at the water fairy from afar and said. He then looked at the pavilion in the distance. There was a faint light of excitement in his eyes. He sighed in his heart. I've finally seen this brat again. He's so worrisome. Yang Wen seemed to have sensed something. His eyes were also filled with excitement. He almost called out, Big Brother. Du Xiaojing and Little Man both felt that the gap between Wu Ho and Yang Wu was too great. They didn't dare to rashly acknowledge him. They weren't like Yang Wu, who had the same bloodline as Yang Wu. Yang Wu flipped onto the three-legged golden crow's back. He stroked his feathers and said, let's go. We'll kill them in broad daylight. Otherwise, these troubles will be endless and annoying. Yes, master. The three-legged golden crow responded and brought Yang Wu out of this space. In the next moment, the other creatures also flew out of this space. They wanted to see this fierce battle. Let's go out and take a look. Du Xiaojing suggested. No one dared to disobey her. Yang Wen didn't have any objections. Even if she didn't call him, he would still go out. Little Man stroked the little white dog in her arms and muttered to herself, is he really young master? When everyone arrived outside of Luo Chi's space, the experts of the Luo residence also appeared. They were Luo Chi and Luo Ji. Without these two martial gods, who knew what kind of chaos would occur? It's really that guy. He didn't die after entering the Forbidden Godland. Luo Chi was surprised. His strength isn't inferior to ours. It's not strange that he can escape. Luo Ji responded. Not strange. Go in and try. Luo Chi rolled his eyes and said, if you dare to try, I dare to try. No one is as boring as you. Let's see what this guy is going to do. Yang Wu and Qi Jin were already surrounded by many creatures. Hand over the pill furnace secret realm and join my dark pill palace. Maybe you can live. Xue Mingming looked at Yang Wu and reminded him. Gu Bufan also said, hand over the peerless weapon in the true god's tomb, and the Wuji sect won't make things difficult for you. Yang Wu sighed softly and said, all the opportunities in the world are known to those who are capable. Why are you guys so entangled? Do you really think that I, Yang Wu, can't fight back? At this moment, he finally revealed his original appearance. Chapter 1664. Ever since Yang Wu came to the God Realm, nothing went smoothly for him. The God Realm was much crueler than the transcendent world. As long as he touched the interests of others, he would attract endless trouble. If he hadn't entered the God-forbidding grounds and luckily escaped, he would have been surrounded and killed. He didn't want to be passive anymore. He wanted to stand upright in the God Realm, so he decided not to hide anymore. He wanted to carve out a bloody path for himself and stand firm. When he revealed his true appearance, some people were extremely excited. Little Wu, it's really you. Haha, I knew you wouldn't die so easily. Du Xiaojing screamed and rushed towards Yang Wu. She didn't care about what others thought, nor was she worried about being disturbed by other creatures. As a princess, who dared to touch her? Were they tired of living? Young master! Xiaoman cried out in surprise and ran over as well. Yang Wen, on the other hand, didn't move. He had a big smile on his face. He hadn't smiled like this in a long time. Yang Wu looked at Du Xiaojing, who was running over, and asked warily, who are you? Du Xiaojing was stunned. She put her hands on her hips and shouted, "Little Wu, you don't recognize me after eating me. Do you want to die?" Little man followed behind and hurriedly explained for Yang Wu, "Young master isn't that kind of person." Yang Wu looked at little man and waved his hand. "Little man, you know young master best. Come here and let young master take a good look at you." In fact, Yang Wu had come in a long time ago. He had been looking at Yang Wen and little man. He was very happy. Two important people had appeared together. The stone in his heart had been lifted. Next, he just needed to establish himself in the God realm and protect them from harm. The little man obediently came to Yang Wu. Sparkling tears flowed out of her beautiful eyes. Her lovely appearance broke Yang Wu's heart. He gently hugged her in his arms and said, "You must have been wronged by coming to the God realm all of a sudden. Don't feel wronged. Don't feel wronged. To be able to see young master again, I don't feel wronged at all." Boo-hoo. Little man couldn't help but hug Yang Wu and cry bitterly. It would be a lie to say that she didn't feel wronged. Now, some people were displeased. "Let go of little man from me, or else I'll teach you a lesson," Qian Duo shouted, and wanted to rush towards Yang Wu to attack. "Freeze!" Yang Wen looked at Qian Duo and said. Runes flew out from his mouth, binding Qian Duo and sealing his mouth. He couldn't speak even if he wanted to. His words were the law. What kind of terrifying cultivation was this? Yang Wen might look weak, but he was not weak at all. In reality, he possessed extraordinary power, and this was the boundless power bestowed upon him by the book. Du Xiaojing also exploded. However, she was still able to control herself and didn't immediately flip out. Her eyes were about to spit fire. She clenched her fists and cursed in her heart. "Little Wu, I'll teach you a lesson." Yang Wu let go of little man, patted her head, and said, "All right, you go to Yang Wen first. Young master will deal with these annoying shrimps." "Young master, let me do it. I can deal with them." Little man responded and shook her beast-taming bell, summoning a few God realm ferocious beasts. Little man has really grown up. You could just watch from the side. Young master can't solve this problem. Yang Wu praised. "Young master, you have to be careful." Little man retreated obediently and said, "They didn't have that kind of romantic relationship. There was only a master-servant relationship." No, Yang Wu and little man were brothers, while little man regarded Yang Wu as her most respected young master. Their relationship was completely different. When the other living beings heard Yang Wu's words, they were practically fuming with rage. There were many mid-level God realm creatures here, and they were respected wherever they went. However, Yang Wu called them shrimps. He didn't take them seriously at all. "Little Wu, do you really not remember me?" Du Xiaojing finally roared in anger. His terrifying aura swept out in all directions, instantly scaring all the living beings in the vicinity. They all knew that Du Xiaojing's strength was extraordinary, but when she released such power, they still found it hard to believe. They couldn't help but wonder if this girl had lived for thousands of years. After all, there were many people in the divine world who could retain their youthful looks or become famous at a young age. Yang Wu listened to the familiar voice and looked at Du Xiaojing carefully. "Your little Jing?" Du Xiaojing had always looked like a little girl in the divine firmament battlefield. She had only returned to her original appearance when she left. Unfortunately, she had left in a hurry, and Yang Wu hadn't had the chance to properly admire her. Actually, he had already guessed that she was Du Xiaojing, but he hadn't dared to confirm it until she called me. Only then was he completely sure that it was her. "You know it's me, and you're still playing dumb, aren't you?" Du Xiaojing roared. She didn't look ladylike at all. She didn't match her appearance at all. However, Di Xian admired her very much. He thought to himself, "This is a woman worthy of my liking. She has character." Yang Wu said innocently, "I'm not playing dumb. When did my little Jing grow so big? How could I recognize her?" Then he walked over to her and said, "All right, you're all grown up. Don't be so angry. You'll get old easily. You're the one who's old. Your whole family is old." Du Xiaojing threw a tantrum. Only now did she look like a gentle beauty. Yang Wu still couldn't get close to Du Xiaojing before he was stopped by the other living beings. Now is not the time for you to be intimate with each other, the demon shouted. Without saying anything, he attacked Yang Wu. He didn't touch Yang Wu, but a fist came from behind and blew him up. Bang! The body of the Devil Clan's creature exploded, and a large amount of blood splattered everywhere, giving everyone a big fright. I'm still talking. How dare you interrupt me? Just say it if you want to die. Du Xiaojing put away her fist and said domineeringly, "Who would have thought that this delicate beauty would be so violent and terrifying? Xiaojing, you don't have to worry about this. Wait for me at the side. I'll reason with them," Yang Wu said seriously. Du Xiaojing understood Yang Wu's temper, so she retreated to the side obediently and didn't interfere with Yang Wu's business. The two of them had stayed together in the divine firmament battlefield for a few years, so they had some chemistry. All right, whoever wants my inheritance, just come at me. I don't have so much time to waste with you, Yang Wu said as he waved his fist. Brother, I'll accompany you? Yang Wen couldn't help but ask. Yang Wu glanced at Yang Wen and said happily, "Just focus on your studies. Leave the fighting to me." He was full of energy to be able to see his long-lost brother. No one could separate them again. Gu Bufan shouted first, "Take out true God Yu Yan's peerless weapon." He didn't attack directly, nor did he let his people attack. He just deliberately ignited the flames of war. Many people would go crazy for a true God-level weapon. Some of the living creatures already couldn't wait. They held a pair of strange weapons and slashed at Yang Wu. The living creature was very fast. If they were careless, they might be killed. It was a pity that no matter how fast he was, he couldn't be faster than Qi Jin. Qi Jin grabbed the weapon and tore the living creature in half with his sharp claws. "You can't even handle my mount. Don't come out and embarrass yourself," Yang Wu said as he crossed his arms in front of his chest. "He's too arrogant. Let's take them down together." A mid-stage, godly state expert shouted and encouraged the other living creatures to attack together. Yang Wu was very powerful. Everyone had heard about him. They didn't dare to be careless. Suddenly, many powerful forces attacked Yang Wu. Before their attacks landed on him, he had already disappeared from where he was and attacked them. The living creatures couldn't see Yang Wu's movements clearly. They only saw a blur, and the mid-stage, godly state creatures were all kicked to death. Their bodies exploded and blood splattered everywhere. Such a bloody scene was unforgettable. It was too cruel. He's too strong, Huashinzi muttered as he swallowed. He had provoked Yang Wu in the tomb of the true gods. Fortunately, he didn't really fight with Yang Wu. Otherwise, he would have ended up like the living creature in front of him. Luo Muxin and Luo Fahai had also seen Yang Wu. They didn't expect Yang Wu to be so powerful. He had almost left them behind. Shui Mingming said to Meng Jun, "Protector Meng, please capture him." Gu Bufan also said to the protector, "Do it. Don't give him a chance to breathe." Meng Jun, Chun Xiaodao, Xie Tianhong, Bates Hen, and the other godly state creatures all stepped forward. The battle was about to begin. Luo Qi and Luo Ji heard the old mansion master's voice. "Don't let anything happen to Yang Wu." The two of them looked at each other in surprise. Then, they bowed at the same time and agreed. They didn't understand why the old mansion master was so nice to Yang Wu. Could it be that Yang Wu had a powerful background? "You are all dogs that bully others because of your master's power. If you want to snatch my opportunity, then be prepared to die." Yang Wu's heart was already burning with a raging fire. After shouting loudly, he took the initiative to attack. Barbaric fist. An imposing aura surged as he threw out a punch. It was as if the sky was falling and the earth was cracking. This punch enveloped the powerful living creatures that stepped forward. This courage of the weak to fight the strong and challenging the crowd was intimidating. "If I stay here today, the Wuji sect won't continue to fight." Chun Xiaodao used his palm as a knife and slashed at Yang Wu. "How dare you? If I lose, the Naga tribe won't have any ideas about you." Bates Hen screamed and turned into a shadow to attack. "You're just an early-stage, godly state warrior. How dare you talk so arrogantly? Even the Thearcha's son wouldn't dare to do that." Xie Tianhong shouted and threw out a shocking palm print to counterattack. A few other living creatures attacked together, trying to take down Yang Wu. Only Meng Jun didn't attack. This top godly state creature had his own pride and dignity. Chapter 1665. The old monsters of the Luo residence saw everything that happened in Luo Chi's residence. This was their territory, and they couldn't ignore it. Moreover, the princess and the prince were here. If anything happened, they wouldn't be able to bear the consequences. Is this the guest that the old mansion master personally invited to join our Luo residence? He's really young. An expert shrouded in chi asked the old mansion master beside him. On the other side of the old mansion lord, another person said, looking at his bone age, he's definitely not over 100 years old, yet he already possesses such strength. Even if he's not the only one, he's still a peerless genius. However, I don't think the old mansion lord would pay so much attention to him, right? Could it be that he has some other background? The old mansion master Luo Tianming said seriously, don't you think he looks like someone? The people beside him looked at Yang Wu carefully, but none of them felt that Yang Wu looked like anyone. Luo Tianming flipped over something and waved it in front of them, saying, do you remember now? Someone narrowed his eyes and said, it's that lord. So it's that lord. Is he reincarnated? Another person said excitedly, don't make wild guesses. Everything is still unknown. When I first saw him, I was a little surprised. How could there be someone who looked so similar to the great emperor? Now that he has revealed his true face, I feel that he's even more similar. Even his temperament hasn't changed much. But after being exposed like this, I'm afraid he won't be able to find peace, Luo Tianming said worriedly. Since he's the reincarnation of the great emperor, we should protect him well. We can't let him get hurt. That's right. Now that all the great emperors are fighting for a trace of immortal fate, the reappearance of the young great emperor will definitely become their target. We can't just sit and wait for death. Outside Luo Chi, Yang Wu was facing the siege of several high-level immortal state creatures. Even a top-level immortal state creature might not be able to handle it. The other creatures stared at the battlefield, wondering why Yang Wu was so confident that he could withstand the siege of so many powerful creatures. Chen Xiaodao was good at the saber Dao. Even if it was just his hand, the power of his slash was no less terrifying than the power of a divine weapon. One slash could split heaven and earth. Just this slash alone was enough to make the world lose its color. Moreover, there were other people surrounding him, not giving Yang Wu the slightest chance to retreat. Not far away, the little man, who was watching the battle, murmured with worry, young master will be fine. He'll be fine. She was extremely confident in Yang Wu, but after seeing these god-level experts take action, she was extremely worried and conflicted. It was the same for Du Xiaojing. She had stayed with Yang Wu for a few years, and she had seen Yang Wu's extraordinary means. Now that so many years had passed, he was able to come to the divine realm with his own strength, so he naturally had some trump cards. Otherwise, he wouldn't have acted so recklessly. Brother, you have never let me down. This time is no exception, right? Yang Wen murmured in his heart. Literary chi floated around his body, as if he was about to make a move at any moment. The relationship between the two brothers was extremely deep. Naturally, he would not allow anything to happen to his brother here. When Yang Wu's fist collided with his opponent's attack, there were instantly bursts of intense sparks. It seemed as if the world was about to split open. Now, Yang Wu had mended his great Dao. The flowing black tortoise armor on his body was incomparably perfect. His defensive power had skyrocketed, and there were no openings to be found. When an attack landed on his body, a powerful force would quickly dissipate some of the power. After the first wave of attacks, he did not even take half a step back. It wasn't that he could not dodge, but that he wanted to see if his ability to withstand attacks had improved. Ever since he had reached the Jade Moon realm, he had not been able to unleash his full strength. He had always been burdened by his great Dao injuries. Now that he had mended his great Dao, he could finally fight with all his might. After mending my great Dao, it really has improved a lot, Yang Wu said to himself in satisfaction. Then, he charged out with Qi Jin. Qi Jin was his mount and could share some of his pressure. Moreover, he wanted Qi Jin to improve further. He had to go through all kinds of battles to continuously improve. Qi Jin charged out to meet the two deity-level life forms. He turned into a sun, and the raging flames were extremely shocking. Sword blades filled the sky as they slashed out crazily. Yang Wu met these attacks head-on. Every step he took, he punched out. His opponent's attacks were shattered again and again. Not a single attack could easily get close to him. This was not enough. He wanted to kill and intimidate the crowd. Otherwise, he would keep on killing and would tire himself to death. Soul Eye Extermination. Nether Ice Wing Blade. Two great talents erupted, and they were concentrated on one life form. The other life form's attacks were temporarily suspended. It could be said that there were many openings. That high-level deity-level expert from Colored Glass Island blocked Yang Wu's soul power attack, but he could not block the Nether Ice Wing Blade's slash at his waist. Pooh! This high-level deity-level expert's divine armor was directly slashed open, and his body was almost cut in half. Moreover, there was an icy aura that immediately spread throughout his body, causing him to be unable to move and his wounds to heal. That high-level deity-level expert was shocked. Just as he was about to save himself, a fist blasted over like flowing water. It did not even have the chance to react before it broke through space and landed on his head, instantly blasting his head apart. Needless to say, it was Yang Wu who chased after him and punched him until his soul dissipated. Yang Wu's back was exposed, and many attacks bombarded over. How dare you expose such a big flaw? Let's see how you'll die. You just entered the deity level, and you already think of yourself as an invincible god. You're simply courting death. The life form that surrounded Yang Wu said in disdain. However, Yang Wu was not killed at all. Instead, he appeared behind them and punched one of the life forms back. The punch was like a dragon, abnormally domineering. The terrifying punch passed through the life form's divine armor and instantly sent that life form flying. However, this life form was extremely tenacious and was not directly beaten to death. After all, at their level, they would not die so easily. Their ability to withstand attacks was already very strong. Moreover, they weren't good-for-nothings but true high-level deity realm experts. The high-level deity level experts here were much stronger than the overlords of the transcendent world. The Nether Ice Wing Blade chased after them like a shadow, not giving them any chance at all. At the same time, he unleashed an extremely shocking aura, forming a terrifying storm that swept these life forms together and collided with them fiercely. Storm Divine Chain. In an instant, a terrifying wind dragon was formed and swept through the 9 heavens, destroying everything in all directions. The expressions of the deity-level experts present changed. They did not expect a beginner deity-level warrior to have such powerful strength. This was another type of wind divine chain that Yang Wu had comprehended in the wind spirit's territory in the divine firmament battlefield. Not only could it increase his speed, but could also increase his attack power. He had not been able to use this divine chain all this time, just like the Luo Water Spear divine chain. It had only been activated in the Luo manner, but he had self-destructed it. Now that he had reached the Jade Moon realm, he could completely activate the Storm divine chain. Under the cover of this storm, these deity-level experts also had a way to deal with it. Among them, Chun Xiaodao had also refined a divine chain. He raised his saber and slashed out a saber divine chain, fiercely colliding with Yang Wu's storm power. Chun Xiaodao's cultivation level was lower than Yang Wu's, so he thought that this slash would definitely be able to severely injure Yang Wu. However, when his saber divine chain entered, it was directly shattered by the storm power. It was completely unable to block Yang Wu's power. Furthermore, the power of the storm was sweeping towards him, scaring him to death. How can he be so strong? Chen Xiaodao cried out. Beichen's expression was also solemn. His divine robe covered him tightly, but he still felt that the storm power was everywhere. The other living beings were desperately trying to block. They were all very strong, so they would not die so easily. One of the living beings held a long spear and charged into the storm. He shouted, "Is the power of the divine chain that great? Explode for me." The long spear contained 7 layers of force, and it kept breaking in, stabbing towards Yongwu. This living being's brute force was shocking, and he did not care about the injuries on his body. He was determined to kill Yongwu in one fell swoop. Yongwu was in his best battle state. When this living being approached, he heavily stomped over with his leg of the wind. The power of a thunderbolt fell down, and a terrifying wind blade slashed down. This living being held the long spear to block the attack, but when his power came into contact with the wind blade, he realized that it was just a feint. Suddenly, many wind blades appeared around him, instantly breaking through his layers of defense and cutting him black and blue. This living being screamed, but he could not retreat even if he wanted to. He forced out another divine diagram to block Yongwu's power. In addition, Xie Zhenhong was not idle either. He threw out 9 divine flags and shouted, "9 palace godly array." The 9 divine flags swayed, and rolling wind and clouds accompanied them, trying to forcibly stop Yongwu's attack. Qin Shao Dao raised his saber again. The saber Dao contained the divine chain, could kill top-tier immortal state living beings. The other living beings also activated their battle drums and battle bells to surround Yongwu. Yongwu seemed to have run out of tricks. In fact, he had just begun to warm up. The immortal foundation power in his body was activated, and the power of the storm god chain instantly increased by several times. In addition, the black walk smashed towards the living being holding the long spear. Poof! The black walk was a true divine weapon, and it was completely unstoppable. It instantly crushed this living being. "I'll give you guys a taste of this walk," Yongwu shouted, and he smashed the black walk towards the living being. In his other hand, a Yu Yin True God Spear appeared. This sealed Yu Yin True God Spear appeared once again. It also displayed extraordinary power, blocking Qin Xiaodao's attacks. Spear after spear stabbed out, displaying the Luo Water Spear Dao to its fullest. Although he had already self-destructed the divine chain of the Luo Water Spear Dao, he had already comprehended its essence. This fierce battle was going to be extremely exciting. Chapter 1666. These people are so strong. They're actually ganging up on young master. How shameless. Little man looked at the battlefield nervously. "Do you want me to call someone to help him?" Qian Duo asked. Little man shook her head. "Young master doesn't need anyone to help him. He will be unhappy." "Arrogant guy," Qian Duo commented. "Don't talk about young master like that. If you dare to talk bad about young master again, we won't be friends anymore." Little man said decisively. Qinduo's heart was severely hurt. He tried so hard to please little man, but he could never compare to the young master in her heart. "Little Wu, you're progressing really fast. Not bad, not bad. You didn't disappoint me." Du Xiaojing looked at Yongwu in the battlefield and was very satisfied. "You like him?" Di Xian asked. "Of course," Du Xiaojing quickly replied. Then she said seriously to Di Xian, "Now you know what I think? We could be friends, but we won't be Dao companions." Unfortunately, Di Xian was kicked out just like that. His master wanted him to marry her and become Dao companions with her. He was actually disdainful in his heart. He had an immortal body, and in the future, he would become an immortal who would never grow old. How could he take a mortal as his wife? However, he found out from his master that Du Xiaojing also had an immortal body. That was why he slowly changed his view of her. After spending some time with her, he actually liked this girl who always called herself me. "He is not bad, but he is not good enough for you. You two are destined to never be together," Di Xian replied. He paused for a moment before continuing. "Only I am good enough for you. You're really confident," Du Xiaojing replied. She didn't care about Di Xian anymore. On the battlefield, after Yang Wu activated the power of his immortal root, he became extremely ferocious. The storm god chain displayed terrifying power. Countless wind blades were not only hard for many to block, but also made it difficult for them to control their bodies. Only 2 or 3 of them were able to counterattack. When Yang Wu took out the black walk and smashed them, their divine weapons shattered. Even their divine bodies were smashed into smithereens. Yang Wu was like a ferocious tiger that had escaped its cage. His fighting power was simply abnormal. Moreover, he also had a true god-level divine weapon. He was not someone that ordinary living beings could fight against. There were two creatures who fled with their lives, not daring to fight again. Only Chun Xiaodao, Xie Jinhong, and Bates Hen could still fight. Everyone, don't hold back anymore. This child definitely has a divine body that can greatly increase his battle prowess, Chun Xiaodao shouted. That's what I was thinking, Xie Jinhong replied. Let's talk about it after I shoulder this burden, Bates Hen said sullenly. The black walk in Yang Wu's hand landed on Bartuish's body. Bartuish had transformed into a python and was using his divine weapon to fight against the black walk. He was also somewhat powerless. Chun Xiaodao and Xie Jinhong didn't dare to hope that Bates Hen could help them. As long as he could stall that black pot, it would be enough. Shatter the mountains and rivers. Chun Xiaodao's spirit intent and Xian Qi power condensed and fused into the divine chains. He slashed out a heaven-defying blade light. This blade seemed like a single blade, but it was actually 18 consecutive slashes that shattered the void. This was Chun Xiaodao's most powerful attack. Xie Jinhong controlled the array flags to block the storm, while he controlled his flying sword to directly take Yang Wu's head. It was a shocking scene. The flying sword was like a rainbow. In the blink of an eye, it could instantly kill the opponent. In addition, he also used the invisible divine ability, Shadowless Kick. Shadowless Kick was his unique skill. His legs seemed to tremble, but in reality, there was already an invisible leg light that was violently kicked out. It was impossible to defend against. Yang Wu had to block Chun Xiaodao's attack, while also taking care of Xie Jinhong's flying sword. He couldn't take care of the Shadowless Kick at all. Yang Wu relied on his double layer of defense and couldn't care so much. He raised the true God Yu Yin's spear and exploded with all his strength. The power of his immortal foundation was completely activated. The Luo water spear Dao was brandished. It was like a river smashing down heavily. Its might was rather terrifying. In addition, a soul bell flew out from his divine soul and ruthlessly collided with Xie Jinhong's flying sword. It shattered Xie Jinhong's flying sword. Bang! The flying sword was a top-notch divine weapon, but it couldn't be compared to the soul bell. Xie Jinhong was incomparably heartbroken. He used all his strength to activate the Shadowless Kick. He must kick Yang Wu until he exploded. Yang Wu's black tortoise battle armor also cracked from a kick. An extremely destructive power entered his body, but it was blocked by his Emperor Jade battle armor. However, Xie Jinhong's Shadowless Kick still affected Yang Wu. He couldn't take Xie Jinhong's crazy, continuous slashes head-on. His body was continuously slashed 6 times. These 6 slashes possessed the power to split the heavens and split the earth. The black tortoise battle armor cracked. The terrifying slash marks landed on Yang Wu's Emperor Jade battle armor and caused a wave of sparks. Yang Wu flew backwards while vomiting blood. It was very obvious that he had suffered heavy injuries. If it was a one-on-one battle, he was confident that he could easily take down Chun Xiaodao or Xie Jinhong. However, he was currently under their siege. His strength was greatly depleted, and his reaction wasn't as fast. It was inevitable that he would be injured. You're really durable. Let's see how many moves you can take. After Chun Xiaodao snorted coldly, he continued to attack crazily. Each slash carried a torrential power. Other than taking it head-on, there was no possibility of escaping. Yang Wu didn't reply. The nether ice wing blade invisibly slashed towards Xie Jinhong. He would first restrain this person while the soul bell started to vibrate. Dong dong. The soul bell's attack went straight to the depths of the other person's soul. Even if they had the means to defend the soul, they still couldn't withstand the soul bell's attack. No matter if it was Chun Xiaodao, Xie Jinhong, or the other living beings, their heads exploded and their souls were almost extinguished. Kill. Yang Wu's killing intent sword. The nether ice wing blade flew and directly chopped off the heads of the few people. Without waiting for everyone to react, Yang Wu grasped all these heads in his hand. How dare you? Meng Jun had been watching the battle all along. When he saw this scene, he involuntarily roared and wanted to join the battle. Without waiting for Meng Jun to make a move, Yang Wu shouted loudly, "If you dare to come, I'll kill them. You'll take the blame for this." Meng Jun didn't have any relationship with those people. Just as he was about to make a move regardless of everything, someone shouted loudly, "If you have something to say, say it properly. Don't kill my clan's protector. Quickly release Lord Chun. Our grudge ends here. If you dare to kill my clan's Lord Xie, there won't be a place for you to live in this world." These protectors were all-powerful. If they died in Yang Wu's hands, none of them could afford to bear the consequences. Yang Wu replied, "That depends on him. If he dares to make a move, I dare to kill them. If he doesn't, we can still negotiate." Yang Wu could feel the threat from Meng Jun. This guy must be an expert who had killed his way out of an army of tens of thousands. Perhaps he was even a top divine realm expert at the martial god realm. Even if he had all kinds of trump cards to deal with him, there was no need for him to fight to the death with him. The few heads in his hands were enough to intimidate the crowd. "How dare you threaten me?" Meng Jun roared and raised his fist to attack. Meng Jun was indeed a top divine realm expert. His punch was like a ferocious tiger coming out of the mountain. The shocking aura swept toward Yang Wu. Even Yang Wu felt a very domineering threat. If he took it head-on, he would probably be injured. Meng Jun's punch contained an extremely terrifying, murderous aura. He couldn't take it head-on. The black pot quickly blocked in front of him and blocked the punch for him. Bang! The sound was like a thunderbolt on a clear day, causing everyone's ears to hurt and feel uncomfortable. Yang Wu retreated a lot, but the black pot couldn't reflect Meng Jun's power. It didn't hurt Meng Jun at all. It showed how powerful Meng Jun's punch was. "So powerful!" Yang Wu exclaimed in his heart. Meng Jun frowned and thought, "A true divine weapon." Just as Meng Jun was about to attack again, Gu Bufan shouted, "Lord Meng, please stop." The others also shouted and stopped Meng Jun from attacking. Meng Jun wanted to be stubborn, but after hesitating for a while, he looked at Xue Mingming and waited for him to make the decision. Xue Mingming said helplessly, "Let's hear what he has to say first." The Dark Pellet Palace was the strongest, but it didn't mean that they dared to offend all these forces. If they angered Yang Wu and Yang Wu killed all these people, these forces would transfer their anger to them. Yang Wu let them go. Gu Bufan glared at Yang Wu and shouted. He had the golden sky divine body and was an extremely dazzling god's son. However, he didn't even get a single Luo lotus here. He felt extremely sullen. In addition, seeing Yang Wu showing off his power made him feel even more uncomfortable. "If you say another word, I'll crush your family members to death," Yang Wu replied with a displeased look. He was the one who had the upper hand now. He hated Gu Bufan's arrogant face the most. If it was a one-on-one battle, he could directly trample on this face. "We won't do anything to you anymore. Let them go," someone else said. Yes. We definitely won't covet the opportunity you got. Let my protector go." Hee, your conditions are very sincere." Yang Wu laughed. Then he looked at Du Xiaojing and said, "Little Jingjing, what do you think I should do to let them go?" Du Xiaojing walked out happily and said, "I think you should just kill them." Then, she added, "They won't dare to cause trouble for the Imperial Palace anyway." The two words Imperial Hall rang out like a clap of thunder, frightening all the living beings present. The 5 palaces were the Supreme Harmony Palace, the Divine Palace, the Void Palace, the Imperial Palace, and the Medicine God Palace. Each palace had supreme authority in this place. Their forces were incomparably huge. They were in different regions, intimidating large territories. To the major forces of many provinces, the divine palaces were their emperors, and they were only their subjects. If the emperor wanted the subjects to die, the subjects had no choice but to die. It was evident how terrifying Du Xiaojing's words were. They had always thought that Du Xiaojing's background might be powerful, but they didn't expect it to be so powerful. It was too frightening. Even geniuses like Gu Bufan and Xue Mingming showed traces of fear. There were countless geniuses like them in the Imperial Palace. What do they have to be proud of? Chapter 1667. Du Xiaojing's words were like a bucket of cold water poured over the people of these so-called major factions, waking them up instantly. Everyone who had been shouting and yelling just a moment ago was instantly stunned, especially Xue Mingming, who had wanted Meng Jun to deal with Yang Wu. Now, he had to put that thought away. The Dark Pill Palace could compete with the Medicine God Hall, but they definitely wouldn't dare to compete with the Imperial Hall. After all, the Medicine God Hall mostly competed in alchemy, and the Medicine God Hall usually followed the rules and wouldn't easily start a fight. The Imperial Hall was different. If they really angered them, they would directly send out an army to destroy their forces, uprooting them and leaving no future trouble. This was the anger of the Divine Hall, and it wasn't something that ordinary factions could bear. Yang Wu didn't know much about the Divine Realm, but he had heard Yu Huaiji mention that the Imperial Hall was one of the 5 Divine Halls, and it was an existence that couldn't be provoked. This little girl hid it really well. Yang Wu sighed in his heart. None of the living beings present dared to speak, and they didn't know what to say. They felt that their lives were in the hands of this beautiful girl, and anything they said could cause them to lose their heads. All right, look at them. They're all scared out of their wits. Return their lives to them, and then let them pay for their lives. Du Xiaojing spoke again. After a pause, she said, I don't think they'd dare to not pay. Hearing her words, Yang Wu looked at the expressions of the others, then nodded and released the heads in his hands. Those heads quickly merged with their bodies, and they came back to life again. Those who had reached the Divine Realm wouldn't die so easily. Broken limbs could be reattached, and they could even be reborn. These living beings all broke out in cold sweat. Yang Wu was too strong. If they fought him one-on-one, they would already be dead. Even if they all attacked together, they wouldn't be a match for him. Perhaps only the best of the best in the Divine Realm could fight Yang Wu. All right, you heard what I said just now. Leave the money for your lives and scram. Yang Wu lazily stretched his body. These creatures didn't dare to be negligent. They all took out all the godstones they had. Those who didn't have enough godstones could only bet some natural treasures. Yang Wu glanced at these things and said with dissatisfaction, In any case, you are all experts of a region, and you only have these few things? If you don't show some sincerity, don't even think about leaving. They had no choice but to take out more valuable items from their Qiankuan space, including some herbs, stones, and demon materials. Compared to his own life, these things were just worldly possessions. Well, that's more like it. That's it. Don't have any ideas about me in the future. Although you may not take it to heart, it doesn't matter. Those who want to kill me are all dead in the end. Think about it yourself. Yang Wu unceremoniously put away all these things, his heart blooming with joy. Although he had collected many godly items in the Transcendental Realm, it was still a far cry from what he had now. After all, this was the Divine Realm. There were many things that couldn't be found in the Transcendental Realm. With this wealth, he could do many things. These creatures had lost all their face. They couldn't control their juniors and left dejectedly. Xue Mingming also couldn't ask Meng Jun to attack. However, he didn't leave. The others didn't leave because the Luo Qi gathering had just begun. The 3 stalks of Luo lotuses were the climax. Next was the stage of making friends and discussing the Tao. Furthermore, with the princess around, they didn't want to leave. If they could establish a relationship with the Imperial Hall, it would be enough for them to be proud. Someone from the Luo family said, The 3 stalks of Luo lotuses already belong to someone. However, to thank all of you for coming, the Luo residence has prepared some small gifts for all of you. Please return to the Luo Qi gathering for the next stage of the Tao discussion. Just like that, all the creatures returned to the Luo Qi gathering. The small gift that the Luo family prepared for all the creatures was the Luo River primordial water that was unique to the Luo residence. Don't underestimate the Luo River primordial water. It couldn't be bought outside even if one wanted to. Every drop was a godly item. Refining it would allow one to possess the primordial water talent and increase one's water mystic Qi's combat power. All the prodigies were elated. Their impression of the Luo residence skyrocketed. This gift was very valuable. Compared to this gift, they cared more about Princess Du Xiaojing. They hoped that they could get to know her. Unexpectedly, the princess didn't care about them at all. She pulled Yang Wu and disappeared. All the prodigies were depressed. At the same time, They guessed that Yang Wu might be closely related to the Imperial Hall. With this guess, more and more rumors about Yang Wu started to spread. Fewer people dared to go against him in Luo's state. It could be said that because of Du Xiaojing's words, Yang Wu's life was saved. Otherwise, any force that sent a top-notch martial god would be enough to give Yang Wu a headache. Even if a true expert attacked, he wouldn't be able to escape. In the pavilion, Du Xiaojing looked at Yang Wu and said happily, "Little Wu, I was thinking of going to the human realm to find you. I didn't expect you to come here first. Not bad, not bad. You've improved a lot. You didn't embarrass me." Yang Wu was very affectionate when he saw Du Xiaojing. He couldn't help but pat Du Xiaojing's head and said, "You've finally grown from a little kid to a young lady. Not bad, not bad." At that moment, he sensed a murderous intent coming at him from the side. "Take your claws away," Di Xian said coldly. Yang Wu looked at Di Xian. He sensed a strong hostility from Di Xian. He also sensed a unique aura from Di Xian that gave him a strong sense of oppression. Du Xiaojing pushed away Yang Wu's hand and said to Yang Wu, "Little Wu, ignore him. Just pretend he doesn't exist. Pay attention to your status. You're a princess. How can you allow a lowly creature from the human realm to touch you?" Di Xian reminded her, "It's none of your business. If you can't stand it, you can go back to the Void Palace," Du Xiaojing said rudely. "The two emperors brought us together. Are you really going to let them down? So what? Who can force me to do something? Even my father can't. Your master can't either. All right, I don't want to argue with you about this meaningless topic. It won't be long before I don't deal with him. Your Imperial Hall's people will make him disappear by himself." After saying that, Di Xian flew towards the geniuses. He didn't want to stay there and suffer anymore. "Boring guy," Du Xiaojing said unhappily. Her mood was ruined. "Who is he?" Yang Wu asked. "The Void Emperor's personal disciple," Du Xiaojing replied. "Void Emperor? Don't tell me we met," Yang Wu said in surprise. Before he could finish, Du Xiaojing raised a finger and said, "Shh, don't say anything. It's taboo." Yang Wu immediately understood. The Void absolute art that he cultivated probably came from the Void Emperor's inheritance. "You don't have to be afraid. I'm here. No one's allowed to bully you," Du Xiaojing said. Yang Wu smiled and didn't reply. Instead, he looked at Yang Wen and said, "Little brat, you came to the God Realm without a word. Mom and Dad are worried sick." "Brother, I'm sorry. I didn't want to," Yang Wen said with a guilty expression. "Little Wen is really your brother. He's much more handsome than you," Du Xiaojing joked. "Haha, this little brat has been more outstanding than me since he was young. I can't do anything about it," Yang Wu laughed. "Then you two brothers can have a chat first. We'll catch up later." Du Xiaojing was very tactful. He pulled little man and left, leaving some space for the two brothers to talk. After they left, the two brothers hugged each other tightly. They hadn't seen each other for many years. Although the two of them still looked like teenagers, they had changed a lot. Yang Wu had been reborn a few times. His appearance and temperament were many times better than before. Yang Wen, on the other hand, had read more than 10,000 books. He was full of a scholarly aura. He looked even more elegant. After a long time, they finally separated. Their eyes were already a little moist. Back then, Yang Wu was sent to prison. If it wasn't for Yang Wen giving up his position as the top scholar in the liberal arts, he would have been killed. Other than being close to Yang Wen by blood, he also felt gratitude that couldn't be expressed in words. As for Yang Wen, he had always been delicate. Yang Wu had always taken care of him. Yang Wu was very protective of his younger brother. He wouldn't allow anyone to bully him. In Yang Wen's heart, his brother would always be a big tree that sheltered him. The two of them had always been very close to each other. It was something that no one could replace. Brother, brother. This was a call from their bloodline. It was very intimate and natural. "How did you come to the God Realm? Have you been studying all these years? Father and mother were very worried about you. Although they didn't say much, I could feel it." Yang Wu asked Yang Wen one question after another. He wanted to know if he had been well all these years. Yang Wen felt his brother's concern. He felt very warm. He sighed in his heart. "No matter how many books I read, they're not as comfortable as a few words from my brother." Yang Wen answered one by one. He didn't dare to hide anything. He didn't have many fortuitous encounters. He just accidentally entered a realm in the transcendent realm. Then, he was transferred to the Palace of One. All these years, he had been in the Palace of One. Even if he didn't leave the Palace of One, he still understood many things. After hearing this, Yang Wu was completely relieved. As long as his brother was fine and didn't cause any trouble, everything was fine. Yang Wen also asked about some family matters. Yang Wu also gave him a simple explanation. He also told Yang Wen that he was already an uncle. Life was like a dream. It would pass by in a few blinks of an eye. Cherish it. Chapter 1668. It feels like I've been dreaming for 1,000 years. I even have nephews and nieces now. Yang Wen laughed. When I find you, we'll find a way to return to the transcendent world. Then, our family can be reunited, Yang Wu replied. Yang Wen replied, I can't leave for the time being. I have to start collecting reading seeds and accumulating knowledge. Now that martial arts are flourishing and literature is weak, I have to carry the mission of literature and revive the path of literature to carry the path and educate the masses. Don't you miss your parents? Of course I do, but there are some things that I have to do. Also, I don't have to wait until the day when literature is flourishing to be free. As long as I plant a literary seed, I can leave at any time. Also, you have a mission on your shoulders. You have to raise your strength in the God realm in the short term. Otherwise, it will be difficult to resist the future calamity. What calamity? You're making it sound like a fraud. Yang Wu frowned. It's not time yet, so there's no point in talking about this. In short, both of us have a heavy mission on our shoulders. We have to raise our strength as soon as possible, Yang Wen said seriously. Yang Wu didn't ask any more questions. He had already remembered what Yang Wen said. After chatting for a while, the two of them came out of the pavilion. At this time, it was very lively outside. Luo Qi, the emperor's son from the Void Hall, was talking. He was talking about the great Tao of the Void. The Void Hall was one of the most mysterious halls of the 5 halls. If one cultivated their absolute art, they could go anywhere. Even in the void, they would be like fish in water. The absolute art of the void was not forbidden. As long as one cultivated it to a certain level and was recognized by the Void Hall, they could join the Void Hall. However, it was not easy to cultivate the absolute art of the void. Without a certain level of talent, it was impossible. Di Xian was the Void Emperor's favorite disciple. He was titled as the Emperor's son, which was equivalent to being the Void Emperor's adopted son. This showed how important he was in the Void Hall. After Yang Wu and Yang Wen arrived, they didn't make a sound. They quietly listened to Di Xian talk about the Tao of the Void. It had to be said that Di Xian was very knowledgeable. At such a young age, he had already comprehended the Tao of the Void. His explanation was quite exquisite and enlightening. Di Xian was handsome to begin with. Only the two brothers, Yang Wu and Yang Wen, could compare to him. None of the other divine sons could compare to him. When he preached, he was one with the heavens and the earth, almost blending into the void. This added to his ethereal temperament, attracting the hearts of many women. Du Xiaojing, on the other hand, didn't care at all. When she saw Yang Wu and Yang Wen come out, she went up to them and said, "It's boring to stay here. Why don't we go out and get some fresh air?" "I don't have any objections." Yang Wu shrugged. He understood little Jing's personality. She was very playful. It was too difficult for her to stay in one place. Back when she had been trapped in the Void Palace for more than 10 years, she had been bored to death. Unfortunately, someone didn't want them to leave. Di Xian suddenly attacked Yang Wu. A void handprint reached towards Yang Wu's position. It was impossible to guard against an attack from a distance. Yang Wu cultivated the void body tempering technique, so he was very sensitive to movements in the void. When Di Xian's power was about to fall on him, he felt it. When he wanted to escape, he found that there was a force in the void binding him, making him unable to move. Di Xian's sneak attack didn't hurt Yang Wu. He only pushed Yang Wu lightly and sent Yang Wu hundreds of feet away. This is the void hand. As long as it has the essence of the realm, it can hurt people without them noticing. If I wanted to kill him just now, he would be dead, Di Xian said calmly. Di Xian said calmly. He described the demonstration lightly, not caring about what Yang Wu was thinking. Before Yang Wu could react, Du Xiaojing glared at Di Xian and shouted angrily, "Do you want to die?" Yang Wu had just killed a lot of people. Di Xian's sneak attack told everyone that it would be easy for him to kill Yang Wu. "Xiaojing, don't be angry. I was just demonstrating the power of the Void Doctrine to let everyone feel its uniqueness. If I accidentally pushed Brother Yang, he wouldn't be angry, right?" Di Xian smiled faintly. Someone immediately agreed with Di Xian and said, "That's right. It was just a gentle push. It didn't hurt him. There's no need to be angry. The Void Doctrine is unique in the world. Brother Yang Wu can feel the mystery of the Void Doctrine. He should keep a low profile. There are countless experts in the world. Don't think that you are invincible. Learn from this young master. His power is extraordinary, but he is much more low profile." These people knew that Di Xian had an extraordinary background. He was probably an inner disciple of the Void Hall, or even a lineal disciple of a Void Real God. They all stepped on Yang Wu to show their goodwill to Di Xian. "Sir, you don't have to speak for me. I apologize to Brother Yang. I won't use you as a demonstration next time," Di Xian said as he glanced at Yang Wu. Yang Wu said with a sullen face, "Can I use you as a demonstration too?" After saying that, he was about to attack Di Xian. Being ridiculed in public, no one would feel good if they were in his shoes. Yang Wu had to admit that Di Xian's methods were amazing. Even if it was a sneak attack, he couldn't dodge it. If Di Xian wanted to kill him, even if he didn't die, he would be severely injured. "Brother, don't be angry. I will reason with him." Yang Wu stopped Yang Wu and walked toward Di Xian step by step. "You used my brother to elevate yourself. How could you do such a despicable thing? You are too narrow-minded. Even if you have the disposition of an emperor, you will only be at the bottom in the future. You will never become a great marquis. Apologize to my brother, and I will let this matter rest." Di Xian smiled and ignored Yang Wu. Naturally, there would be people talking about Yang Wu. Sure enough, some of the lackeys started to scold Yang Wu. Each sentence was worse than the last. Even though Yang Wu looked extraordinary, they didn't see him use any powerful killing moves. Therefore, they didn't take Yang Wu seriously. However, they forgot that Yang Wu had snatched away a Loyan. Those who shame others will always be shamed. "You should all study more with me," Yang Wu said faintly. Yang Wu faintly said. A book appeared in his hand, and he gently flipped through it. In an instant, a book pavilion appeared. All sorts of books were flipped through. It was as if there were countless children reading. Every sentence was deeply enlightening. Countless words entered the bodies of those arrogant creatures. They couldn't block it, even if they wanted to. No matter how hard they struggled, they couldn't block it. Literary qi was all-pervasive. It was very different from Xian qi and soul power. Yang Wu didn't want to hurt them. He just wanted them to understand the meaning of studying and the principles of being human. Right now, he didn't have time to teach these creatures. He looked at Di Xian and said faintly, "Please read the Holy Bible." Suddenly, a huge book formed by literary qi pressed down on Di Xian. A gentleman uses his mouth, not his fists. Yang Wu just moved his mouth, and endless literary qi was formed. Its power was terrifying. This was the power of his reading. Everything was inferior, and only reading was superior. This didn't make sense. Before the Holy Bible could fall, someone rushed out and attacked the Holy Bible. Bang! The Holy Bible exploded, turning into countless light spots. Hee, that's all you got. Trying to be mysterious. The person laughed. Just as he finished speaking, the broken Holy Bible turned into countless words and continued to cover Di Xian. Everyone looked at this scene with a look of incomparable shock. What kind of power was Yang Wu using? It was so unbelievable. Di Xian was also shocked. However, he was very calm. He sat cross-legged in the air. The power of his god's court rushed out and turned into a soul palm that slapped at the words. He judged that Yang Wu was using soul power. Coincidentally, his soul power wasn't weak either. However, when his soul palm came into contact with the words, it couldn't destroy them. The words continued to cover him. "You have some skills. Get out of my way." Di Xian sneered. A black hole appeared in front of him, and a devouring power swallowed the words. This time, the words couldn't escape. They were directly sucked into the black hole. Everyone was shocked when they saw Di Xian attack. They felt their scalps go numb when they saw this. Yang Wen looked at Di Xian's black hole and flipped through the pages calmly. He shouted, "Break!" Literary qi quickly gathered and condensed into a huge break word. The word was like a silver hook and iron painting. It crashed into the black hole with a strong destructive power. "Break! Explode! Shake!" Yang Wen shouted continuously. Literary qi crazily condensed into words. Each word contained an inexplicable great power that could turn the world around. They all fell into the black hole. Bang! Bang! The black hole exploded continuously. Finally, it couldn't withstand the powerful literary qi and collapsed. This time, Di Xian was finally moved. He stood up and walked over. His body flowed with an illusory aura. He looked at Yang Wen arrogantly and said, "It seems that you are a person with a unique talent. However, it's not enough to stand up for your brother." This time, Di Xian took the initiative to attack. "Stop!" Du Xiaojing wanted to rush over to stop him, but Yang Wu stopped him. "Let Little One do it," Yang Wu said. "Little One won't be his match," Du Xiaojing said. A direct disciple of a great emperor could completely crush many geniuses in the God realm. She didn't think that Yang Wen would be able to gain an advantage in front of Di Xian. "I believe in him," Yang Wu said with certainty. He couldn't help but recall the scene of his younger brother burning the midnight oil to read. He could read auspicious signs when he read. He could read the growth of all living things. What couldn't he do? Void Hand. Di Xian used the Void Palace's unique technique. He wanted to send Yang Wen flying with one palm and teach him a lesson. The Void Hand he used contained the great Tao of the Void. It was more powerful than Yang Wu's Void Hand. It was impossible to escape even if one wanted to. Impregnable defense. Yang Wen chanted softly, a majestic when qi condensed into an incomparably sturdy defensive wall. Moreover, there was also the power of Wen Dao to resist, directly blocking Di Xian's attack. The Void Hand slapped the void, causing ripples to appear. However, it couldn't hurt Yang Wen at all. Yang Wen recited again. The bright moon of the Qin dynasty and the Han dynasty. The long march of thousands of miles has yet to end. However, with General Long Changfei here, he won't let a horse pass the Yin Mountain. Literary qi turned into poetry. Every word turned into the power of thousands of soldiers and horses. Among them, there was a battle general who carried a torrential battle intent that crushed towards Di Xian. This kind of battle was new. Chapter 1669. Everything was inferior, and only reading was superior. Yang Wen had read for many years and received the inheritance of the Wen Palace. He understood the profoundness of words. He was like a literary star. Every word he spoke could be turned into an attack to suppress his opponent. Not only that, but Wen Qi was also very different from Xin Qi. It was a special kind of power. It was the power of reading. It was different. Di Xian was the emperor's son. He had amazing means. He didn't take Yang Wen's power head-on. He shuttled through the void and landed directly on top of Yang Wen's head. This attack carried the nature of an insult. Before Di Xian's foot could land, Yang Wen's Wen Qi surged up like a tide and blocked Di Xian's foot. The power of his poem was transformed and quickly surrounded Di Xian. It was as if thousands of soldiers and horses were attacking Di Xian. Di Xian stopped dodging. Suddenly, the space distorted and turned into nothingness. He transferred all the attacks into the space. Such a method was equally astonishing. The way of the void was incredible. Just as the two were about to fight, an expert from the Luo Manor arrived and said, "Please give the Luo Manor some face and stop here." This was the aura of a true god expert. This world was enveloped by his will. Yang Wen and Di Xian were separated by him. It wouldn't be easy for them to fight again. "You're lucky." Di Xian looked at Yang Wen and said unhappily. Yang Wen said calmly, "You don't know etiquette. You should read the book of etiquette more. I'll teach you how to be a polite person in the future." Can a broken mouth really defy the heavens? What a joke, Di Xian said disdainfully. Di Xian replied disdainfully. In fact, he wanted to kill Yang Wen even more. Yang Wen didn't seem to be very powerful, but Di felt that he couldn't see through him. It was as if there were countless words wrapped around him, making him look like a sage. Di felt a trace of reverence in his heart, which was not a good thing for him. Yang didn't want to continue arguing with Di. In short, he just wanted to avenge his brother. Although he didn't make Di look bad, he also proved to the living beings here that they weren't easy to bully. After this incident, the Luo Qi convention was also coming to an end. The two brothers, Yang Wu and Yang Wen, became famous in Luo Qi. One of them could kill divine-level experts consecutively, displaying extraordinary battle prowess. The other had the support of literary aura, and it was suspected that he had used literary arts to prove his Tao. He could challenge imperial princes, and he was quite impressive. Needless to say, Crystal Du and Di had extraordinary backgrounds. After Luo Qi left, the news about this place would spread quickly. Yang Wu and Yang Wen would no longer have any problems establishing themselves in Luo Zhou. At this moment, Yang Wu and Yang Wen had been dragged out by Du Xiaojing to walk around Luo Fu City. No matter if it was because of the special relationship between Yang Wu and Du Xiaojing, or her special identity, they had no reason to refuse. Little Man would naturally follow Yang Wu. She didn't want to leave Yang Wu's side, even for a single step. This had nothing to do with complicated feelings. It was pure love. Qian Duo didn't leave either. He had been following them. He really liked Little Man, and now he wanted to climb up Du Xiaojing's coattails. This was a great thing for the Qian family. Although godly Qian Duo wasn't necessarily afraid of the imperial palace, being able to build a relationship with them was more beneficial than harmful. Especially for him, it was extremely important to have a firm foothold in his family. Huashensi wanted to shamelessly follow them, but he retreated after Du Xiaojing glanced at him. Luo Muxin and Luo Fahai definitely had to accompany them. These two were the divine lady and divine son of the Luo family's younger generation. They were about the same age as Yang Wu, Yang Wen, and the others. It was just right for them to accompany them. Du Xiaojing was very playful. She dragged Yang Wu around and didn't care if there was anyone around them. After all, it didn't matter. To her, it was a very happy thing to be able to walk around the market with someone she liked. After a day, the people present got familiar with each other. Du Xiaojing didn't put on any airs at all. She was very carefree and chatted with the others. However, the others were more or less restrained. Only Yang Wu had a doting look on his face. This kind of doting was not for a Tao companion, but for a little brat. The others were very confused. What was the relationship between the two of them? No one dared to get to the bottom of it. Many things were better left unasked. When night fell, they drank wine and chatted on a brightly lit ship. After a day of pleasant interaction, their conversation had become much more casual. When everyone was about to leave, Du Xiaojing didn't hesitate to invite Yang Wu to stay at the Luo mansion. Luo Muxin also said so. After all, Yang Wu was the guest of the Luo mansion. Yang Wu refused. "I'll have a good chat with my brother tonight. Goodbye for now. Then I'll stay with you. What if you run away?" Du Xiaojing said straightforwardly. After saying that, she blushed and added, "That's not what I meant. We haven't seen each other in a long time. We haven't had a good chat yet. We have some places outside the city. Why don't I arrange for everyone to stay here temporarily?" Luo Muxin said. "That's a good idea. It's decided then." Du Xiaojing made the decision. Yang Wu had no reason to refuse. He followed Luo Muxin to the Luo mansion's courtyard in the city and stayed there temporarily. Yang Wu and Yang Wen flew to the roof and continued drinking wine. The brothers talked until dawn, but they still had endless things to talk about. Most of them were about family matters and what they were going to do next. Yang Wu hoped that Yang Wen could help him. He wanted to establish himself in the realm of gods, and Yang Wen wanted to find a place to teach people to read. The two brothers had the same idea. They started a plan for their future. With their abilities, it wasn't hard for them to find a place to live. The difficult part was how to grow. The realm of gods was very complicated. Other forces wouldn't allow them to grow easily. Next, we need to understand the realm of gods well. Where to start is very important. Actually, someone has already given me directions. It's just a matter of whether we want to do it or not. Someone's giving you directions? Where did this expert come from? A wise senior. If there's a chance, I'll introduce you two to each other. Where's the direction? The Black Tortoise Land in the north. It wasn't easy for them to achieve great things. They needed a lot of people. The only thing they could do at the beginning was to strengthen their forces. Heading north was exactly what Yangwu wanted. The Purple Cloud Palace was also in that direction. It wasn't far from the battle race. However, before they could leave, the people from the Medicine God Hall and the Grass Moon Hall came to find Yangwu. Yangwu had already verified his position as an Emperor-level sacred pharmacist in the Medicine God Hall. He could head to the Medicine God Hall to become a core disciple. At the same time, he agreed to be a guest of the Grass Moon Hall. It was reasonable for these two groups of people to come. The manager of the Medicine God Hall, D-Bei, came personally. The hall master of the Grass Moon Hall, Mei Zixin, came personally. They were all people of high status in Luofu City. Yangwu received them and got to know them again. You're the Martial Marquis? D-Bei looked at Yangwu in disbelief. Yangwu nodded and said, That's me. I'm sorry that I hid something from you. What happened to you was on the morning paper. What's the use of apologizing now? You should go report to the main hall. Is this in accordance with the rules? As long as you don't do anything to damage the Medicine God Hall, everything is in accordance with the rules. Furthermore, your senior sister is very sad for you. If you go to the Medicine God Hall, her mood will improve. All right, let me think about it. After D-Bei and Yangwu finished talking, they didn't stay for long and hurriedly left. He only came to express his attitude. He didn't want to miss the opportunity to befriend Yangwu. Even if Yangwu hid something from him, it didn't matter. After all, Yangwu had obtained the inheritance of the Pill Furnace secret realm and had formed a relationship with the princess. His future was limitless. D-Bei had to rope him in as soon as possible. Hall Master Mei, do you still want me to be your guest? Yangwu looked at the mature and beautiful Mei Zixin and asked, I've already given you the token. How can I take it back? Are you going back on your words now? We have a contract as proof. Mei Zixin's beautiful eyes flickered as she looked straight at Yangwu. She was a beautiful young woman. No matter if it was her appearance, figure, or temperament, they were all top-notch. When a hot-blooded young man saw her, he would have an uncontrollable impulse. Luckily, Yangwu's self-control was not bad. He wasn't seduced by her charm. He replied seriously, If Sister Mei is still willing to fulfill your promise, I naturally don't mind. After pausing for a moment, he emphasized, Furthermore, I won't let Sister Mei make a loss. Haha, it seems like I've bet on the right thing. Mei Zixin smiled beautifully, following which, she threw a flirtatious glance at Yangwu and said, The Grass Moon Hall has also left a place for you to stay. You can come and stay at any time. At night, when you're bored, Sister can accompany you and chat about the world. She was so mesmerizing that he could die without paying for it. Yangwu did not have the time to think about other things. He directly cut to the chase and planned to enter a deeper level of cooperation with the Grass Moon Hall. In the future, a portion of the pills that he concocted would be given to the Grass Moon Hall to sell. Furthermore, he also needed the Grass Moon Hall to provide the herbs. The distribution of benefits was very important. When it came to serious matters, Mei Zixin was incomparably serious. She displayed the image of a strong woman and quickly finalized the follow-up cooperation with Yangwu. Mei Zixin returned with a rewarding journey. Her only regret was that she wasn't able to seduce Yangwu to the Grass Moon Hall. She looked at Yangwu's fairy-like appearance, and her appetite was piqued. After Mei Zixin left, Du Zijing entered the room and said sourly, Little Wu, you're not bad. You've just arrived, and you've already hooked up with such a vixen. Yangwu rolled his eyes and said, What nonsense are you talking about? Look at her flirtatious appearance. Everyone knows that she wants to eat you up. We're in a serious relationship. TSK, we're even more serious. Chapter 1670. Yangwu went back to the Luo mansion with Du Xiaojing. The Luo mansion had sent someone to invite them back, and it was a martial god. They had given them enough respect, so they had to go back. At the same time, Yangwu was also invited, but he didn't accept. He had his own ideas. He didn't want to be involved in his brother's fortuitous opportunity. The people of the Luo mansion didn't force them. They went back to the Luo mansion with Yang Wu and Du Xiaojing. This time, not only did the old mansion master come out to meet them, but the current mansion master also came out to meet them. It wasn't just because of Du Xiaojing, but also because Yang Wu had shown extraordinary strength. He was stronger than the average deity and was almost on par with the peerless geniuses at the imperial prince level. They had to establish a good relationship with him. The Luo family is nice. Don't be too nervous, Du Xiaojing said as she held Yang Wu's hand. She lowered her head, and her face was as red as an apple. She looked very cute. However, not many people could see her like this. She was a princess, and she was holding a man's hand in front of everyone. If this spread out, it would cause an uproar. After all, every princess was extremely noble. Only other imperial princes or peerless geniuses were worthy of her. Yang Wu's performance was extraordinary, but how could he be worthy of her? Moreover, there was news that there was a heaven's chosen one in the mortal world called Yang Wu. The people from the Gate of Yan were even more certain that this Yang Wu was the chosen one of the mortal world. Once this news was confirmed, Yang Wu would be in a lot of trouble. The chosen one that appeared every 1,000 years would mysteriously disappear in the end. It was suspected that the emperor-level forces were responsible for it, because the chosen one was very important, and it was rumored that it had something to do with becoming an immortal. So far, Yang Wu and Du Xiaojing hadn't received this news. When they found out, they wouldn't be so calm. Yang Wu didn't feel uncomfortable being held by Du Xiaojing. He had been with her for a few years, and he knew her carefree personality. He also treated her as his best friend. As for whether he loved her or not, he didn't know. He replied, "I'm still a guest of the Luo Manor. They won't harm me, right? You can't let your guard down, but don't worry. With this consort watching over you, they won't dare to touch you," Du Xiaojing said in a righteous tone. All right, Yang Wu did not refute. He always felt that he was somehow connected to the Luo Manor. Fortunately, he didn't dislike it. The Luo Manor held a welcoming banquet for them, once again confirming Yang Wu's status as a guest elder. Moreover, he was promoted to an elder and possessed considerable authority. In the future, Yang Wu would be able to mobilize a portion of the Luo Manor's forces in the Luo Manor city. This authority was not small. Yang Wu could feel that the Luo Manor was trying to rope him in, but he didn't reject it. Instead, he accepted it. Right now, he was a guest chamberlain. In any case, he was going to establish himself in the God realm, so it would be good to have more people to look after him. After the banquet was over, the old manor lord personally summoned Yang Wu. Even if Du Xiaojing wanted to follow, he was stopped. "You're not allowed to harm little Wu. Otherwise, I'll make the Luo Manor disappear," Du Xiaojing said in an extremely domineering tone. "Don't worry, Your Highness. I still have my face, so I won't do anything to the younger generation," the old manor lord Luo Tianming said with a smile. Yang Wu followed Luo Tianming to the place where he cultivated. He stood at the top of the mountain with him and looked down at the Luo Manor. For some reason, he felt comfortable. It was lonely at the top, but at the same time, it made one's ambition grow. It was a refreshing feeling, as if one had the power to control the world. "Are you surprised that I called you here alone?" Luo Tianming looked down and said indifferently with his hands behind his back. "It's a little strange." Yang Wu nodded. "Look at this portrait," Luo Tianming said. Luo Tianming said, and a portrait flew out. When Yang Wu saw this portrait, his expression turned ugly. This was the portrait of the Jinwu Great Emperor. Other than being a little more mature, he looked a little similar to him. "Do you also think that I'm the reincarnation of the Jinwu Great Emperor?" Yang Wu was in a bad mood. Many times, he wanted to get rid of the shadow of the Jinwu Great Emperor, but he couldn't. The Jinwu Great Emperor seemed to be everywhere, which made him very vexed. "It's not that. You are the reincarnation of the Jinwu Great Emperor," Luo Tianming said with a complicated expression. "Impossible. Don't talk nonsense. I have nothing to do with the Jinwu Great Emperor," Yang Wu shouted, losing his composure. "It's normal that you can't accept it immediately. However, you are able to comprehend the Luo Water Dao and fuse with the power of the Luo Water Divine Chain. Furthermore, you are able to come out of the Forbidden God land alive. All these prove that you are the reincarnation of the Zhenwu Great Emperor. What a joke. I first cultivated the Luo water spear art and entered the Taiping Palace to obtain the power of the divine chain. What's so strange about comprehending it? You may not know this, but our Luo clan was once one of the forces of the true martial palace. Not many people know this secret. Moreover, the martial Dao decree of our Luo clan's ancestor had also received guidance from him. Besides our Luo clan's people, who else could understand our Luo clan's martial Dao? Only the Zhenwu Great Emperor can. No matter what you say, I'm not the reincarnation of the Zhenwu Great Emperor. Yang Wu didn't want to accept this fact. He just wanted to be himself. All right, let's not talk about this. When you appear with this face, many people will treat you as the reincarnation of the Zhenwu Great Emperor. His enemies will find you. You mean to say that there will be many people who want my life? That's right. Then what do you think I should do? Stay in the Luo manor. We will protect you as you grow. Sounds good, but I refuse, Yang Wu replied firmly. Do you think you can resist the pursuit of those enemies with your strength? Luo Tianming glanced at Yang Wu as a terrifying aura enveloped Yang Wu. In an instant, Yang Wu felt as if thousands of mountains were pressing down on him, making him unable to move. As long as Luo Tianming pressed down gently, he would be crushed into pieces. He wouldn't even have the chance to use his other trump cards. This was the terror of a true god expert. Luo Tianming didn't make things difficult for Yang Wu. He quickly withdrew his power and asked again, "Do you still think you're invincible?" Yang Wu heaved a sigh of relief and said in a deep voice, "Even if you protect me, I'm afraid you don't have the ability to do so, right? I need to become stronger. Under your protection, I will lose my sharpness. Even if my strength increases in the future, I will only be someone that others can easily kill. If I can kill my way out of their encirclement, I will have the qualifications to trample all of them under my feet in the future. Of course, if I die, that is my fate. I can't blame anyone else. Thank you for your kindness." He had thought it through. If he wanted to get rid of the shadow of the Zhenwu Great Emperor, he had to cut off everything related to him. Even if he had to die, he wouldn't hesitate. Luo Tianming saw the determination in Yang Wu's eyes and didn't dare to force him. He thought to himself, the great emperor has his own path to walk. Since that's the case, let him be. Since he's reincarnated, he must have a way to protect himself. Then he thought again, the most troublesome thing is the Imperial Hall's reaction. Even though Yang Wu rejected Luo Tianming's kindness, he still appreciated it. If he became stronger in the future, he would definitely take care of the Luo clan. Now, it was still too early to say this. Luo Tianming didn't let Yang Wu leave. Instead, he personally guided him on the Luo water spear art and imparted the Luo water spear Dao to help Yang Wu further comprehend this martial Dao. Yang Wu didn't reject it. These were all resources to strengthen his life-saving means. Every bit of improvement was worth it. Luo Tianming had cultivated this Dao for countless years. His guidance benefited Yang Wu greatly. Yang Wu's comprehension was also astonishing. After listening to Luo Tianming's words, he sorted out his Luo water spear Dao and improved significantly. When he broke through to the true God realm in the future, he could imprint his own Dao. Yang Wu solemnly bowed to Luo Tianming in return, but Luo Tianming stopped him. Luo Tianming concluded that Yang Wu was the reincarnation of the Zhenwu Great Emperor and didn't dare to accept his bow. Yang Wu bade farewell and reunited with Du Shaojing. He accompanied Du Shaojing and Little Man around the Luo Manor City for a few days. Finally, it was time to part ways. Yang Wu still decided to head to the Medicine God Palace. He would first find a place to establish himself before thinking of a way to find Yu. Yang Wu set off again to find a place to establish his sect. The two brothers wanted to achieve something together. "Little Wu, are you really not willing to return to the Imperial Hall with me?" Du Shaojing revealed a reluctant expression. "Yes, I have my own path to walk. I am an outstanding alchemist. The Medicine God Palace is more suitable for me." Yang Wu nodded. Then, he said gently, "Don't worry. Once I have a firm foothold, I will definitely find you." "You liar. It would be strange if I believed you." Du Xiaojing rolled her eyes at Yangwu. Then she said, "Since you've made up your mind, I won't stop you. I'll accompany you to the Medicine God Hall. I haven't been there yet anyway." Is this okay? Yang Wu was stunned for a moment. Why not? Di Xian's tail has already left. I can go wherever I want. Who can stop me? Du Xiaojing said casually. Actually, she was not so casual. As a princess, she wanted freedom, but others might not be willing to let her have it. Okay, let's go together. I will go to the Medicine God Palace's branch first and see what they have arranged. Yang Wu was naturally happy to stay with Du Xiaojing for a while. When he was with her, he would naturally feel happy. Little Man was naturally unwilling to leave. Her greatest wish in life was to serve Yang Wu well. Even if her master found her in the future, she would not leave. Just as Yang Wu and the others were on the way to the Medicine God Palace's branch, someone appeared in front of them and said softly, "Princess, we should go back." It was an old woman. Yang Wu had seen her in the Divine Firmament battlefield before. She had given him an unforgettable memory. "Granny, can you give me some more time? Father didn't tell me when I should go back this time," Du Xiaojing said worriedly. "No, the Celestial of the Arch has ordered you to go back now." Chapter 1671. Du Xiaojing wasn't afraid of anything except the Heavenly Emperor's decree. The Heavenly Emperor's decree not only represented her father's will, but also the will of the entire Imperial Hall. She couldn't go against it. She felt very wronged and sad. She didn't even know how to say goodbye to Yang Wu. Yang Wu looked at her sad expression, and his heart felt like it was being squeezed. He couldn't help but walk over and hug her gently. "Don't be sad. Once I've stabilized, I'll immediately go and find you, okay?" "Really?" Du Xiaojing wiped his sparkling eyes and asked. "Of course. When have I, Yang Wu, ever lied to you?" Yang Wu patted his chest. You've lied to me a lot. You've wronged me. Let's hook our fingers. If you dare to lie to me, you're a bastard. Okay, let's do it. Let's hook up and down for 100 years. Whoever changes their mind is a bastard." Du Xiaojing still left in tears. She had finally reunited with Yang Wu after so much difficulty, and they had to part after just a few days. She felt terrible. She felt like she had already fallen in love with this man. Even if he couldn't be compared to the princes or the most monstrous young people, she still liked him. It had nothing to do with their cultivation level. Being with him was the most comfortable and the happiest. That was enough. Yang Wu felt great being with Du Xiaojing, but he wasn't in the mood to think too much about it. He hadn't gained a firm foothold in the immortal realm yet, so how could he talk about pursuing the princess? This would make others think that he was a toad lusting after a swan. "Little Jingjing, just you wait. No matter how high the Imperial Hall's threshold is, I'll try my best to cross it and see you." Yang Wu swore in his heart. Every step in the immortal realm was extremely difficult, but it didn't affect his confidence. Instead, it filled him with hope and motivation. He temporarily forgot his identity in the transcendent realm and started anew. Yang Wu brought Yang Wan, Little Man, and Qi Jin and prepared to continue to the Medicine God Palace. When they were about to reach the Medicine God Palace, an incomparably terrifying killing force suddenly swept towards them. This was definitely a true god-level attack. Among them, only Yang Wu reacted the fastest. Even Yang Wu was not as fast as him. "Don't even think about harming others," Yang Wan shouted. Incomparable literary qi was released from his body. Ancient books piled up into a mountain, blocking the incoming attack. Bang! When Qi Book Mountain was directly shattered, but there was still a force coming at them. "It's too much of an eyesore to keep you alive." A cold voice rang out. This person was already determined to kill, not giving Yang Wu and the others a chance to live. "He's dead." Yang Wu felt a chill run down his spine. He could already tell who that voice belonged to. It was the old woman who had asked the princess to leave just now. She really wouldn't give him any room to grow. She was truly ruthless. It was too late for him to summon Black Pot, Divine Trident, and Soul Bell to help. Yang Wan was also out of options. He hadn't studied for a long time. Although he could deal with a god-level expert, he still couldn't be compared with a true god expert. Even if he used his life-saving trump card, he could only save himself. He couldn't save Yang Wu and the little man. Under such circumstances, how could he live alone? Elder Go, what are you waiting for? Suddenly, Yang Wen roared. What are you shouting for? You won't die. A lazy voice rang out. A power blocked in front of Yang Wen and Yang Wu, blocking the power of the sneak attack. A sloppy figure appeared in front of them. It was an old man who was holding a wine pot. Mind your own business. The old woman who wanted to kill Yang Wu and the others shouted. She attacked again. Turbulent power squeezed in all directions, wanting to tear the old man into pieces on the spot. This move of hers was merely a feint. The real killing move came later. She slapped out with her palm. This palm distorted the space, bypassed the old man, and continued to attack Yang Wu and the others. The old woman was determined to kill Yang Wu. She wouldn't allow the princess to have any entanglements with him. However, her brilliant attack was still caught by the old man. The old man waved his sleeves. It was as if there was a universe in his sleeves, erasing all of the old woman's attacks. The old woman was shocked. She realized that the person in front of her was stronger than her. Without waiting for her to attack again, the old man shifted his position and came to her side. He waved his sleeves again and said, "Get lost. I never hit a woman, let alone kill one." In the next moment, the old woman was sent flying like a shooting star. Such powerful means it was most likely an extraordinary, true God-level powerhouse. When the crisis was resolved, all of the aura on the old man's body was completely withdrawn. He didn't have the slightest demeanor of an expert. He raised the wine pot and drank a mouthful of wine. He stretched and said, "Your Highness' despicable methods are really shameless." Yang Wu felt that this voice was a little familiar. For a moment, he didn't know where he had heard it before. He went forward and took a closer look. After wiping away his shock, he said, "You that go from the wolf smoke prison field. What go? Call me senior, call me lord. Don't be rude." The old man glanced at Yang Wu and said, "Is it really you?" Yang Wu said in disbelief, "Who else could it be but me? I haven't seen you for many years. Kid, you become quite promising. Where's that evil little hay dog of yours? Why isn't it by your side?" The old man responded. This old man was an old prisoner that Yang Wu met in the wolf smoke prison field, Go Rue. At that time, Yang Wu suspected that Go Rue was a mutant. Unfortunately, he had no evidence. After he disappeared later, he didn't see him again. Who knew that the other party would actually appear in the immortal realm? Moreover, his strength was so terrifying. He really found it hard to accept. Yang Wen read books and found his own path and achieved extraordinary abilities. What virtue and ability did this Go Rue have to become a true God-level powerhouse? If it was really so easy to improve one's strength, how could other people live? Even if they encountered a heaven-defying opportunity, it was impossible to improve to such a level so quickly, right? This was too inconceivable. Yang Wu came back to his senses and replied, "Little Hay isn't by my side. I don't know where she ran off to." After a pause, he said, "You're really hiding your strength. We haven't seen each other for only a few decades, and you've already become a deity of the immortal realm. How did you do it? Can you teach me?" There's a path to the mountain of books, and there's no end to the sea of learning, Guzhuazhou. A genius like me is unparalleled in the world, and it's hard to find in heaven and earth. You'd better cultivate honestly, Go Rue said rather narcissistically. At this moment, Yang Wen smiled and said, "So Big Brother and Elder Go have known each other for a long time. Looks like you're really fated with us brothers." "It's not that I'm fated with you. It's that you're fated with me." "That's your fortune," Go Rue corrected Yang Wen's words. Yes, you're right. If you have something to do, hurry up and do it. Don't waste time here. I don't have the time to wait for you." After Go Rue appeared, he did not leave again. As he spoke, he accompanied Yang Wu to the Medicine God Palace. No one would know that he was a true God-level overlord powerhouse. Yang Wu was beating around the bush, trying to figure out Go Rue's background. Unfortunately, he was too tight-lipped. He only looked left and right and did not answer his question directly. After arriving at the Medicine God Palace's branch, Yang Wu did not ask any more questions. He showed his token and led the others into CD Bay. Before he saw D-Bay, he bumped into Hua Shinsi first. "Boss, you're finally here. I've been waiting for a long time," Hua Shinsi said happily after seeing Yang Wu. "You still recognize me as your boss?" Yang Wu looked at Hua Shinsi and asked jokingly, "How can I not recognize you? Once you're my boss, you'll always be my boss," Hua Shinsi said firmly. "All right, based on your words, I'll recognize you as a friend." Yang Wu patted Hua Shinsi's shoulder and said. Then, he introduced Yang Wan, Little Man, and Go Rue. Yang Wan and Little Man greeted Hua Shinsi politely. Only Go Rue was absent-minded. After a while, D-Bay rushed over and said, "Wu Ho, you're finally here. The main hall is already rushing people." "Sir, my name is Yang Wu," Yang Wu replied. "When you arrive at the Medicine God Palace, you'll be called Wu Ho," D-Bay emphasized. Yang Wu was helpless and could only accept it. It was just a title, so he didn't care. This time, Yang Wu came to the Medicine God Palace's branch to listen to D-Bay's arrangements and head to the main hall. D-Bay decided to lead the team himself and escort Yang Wu to the main hall. Hua Shinsi became one of the people he brought along. This branch was very far from the main hall. Even if they continuously walked through the space door, it would still take some time. Yang Wu had provoked many strong enemies. Even if the princess appeared to deter those forces, it didn't rule out the possibility that some people would take the risk. At this point, Yang Wu and Yang Wen had to part ways again. Yang Wen had rushed to Luozhou just to see his elder brother. Now that they had been together for many days, it was time to do what he wanted to do. When they met again in the future, the two of them would be able to achieve great things with ease. Before leaving, Yang Wu bowed deeply to Go Rue and said, "Elder Go, please take care of my brother. If you need anything in the future, Yang Wu will go through water and tread on fire without hesitation." Go Rue smiled and said, "That's what you said. I didn't force you." "Of course," Yang Wu said with certainty. "Then I'll give you a blessing. When Black Tortoise goes out to sea, it will be dangerous when it encounters ice. When the evil dragon shows its might, water and fire merge, reversing yin and yang, turning misfortune into fortune." After Go Rue said this inexplicable sentence, he left with Yang Wan. Yang Wu remembered these words deeply in his heart. He firmly believed that Go Rue wouldn't fool him about this matter. "All right, let's get ready to go," D-Bay ordered. At this moment, a team rushed over and someone shouted, "Wait for me." Yang Wu looked and saw that the person leading the team was Qian Duo, who was pestering the little man. "Why is this annoying guy here?" The little man wrinkled her nose and said, "Elder D, I plan to go with you to the main hall of the Medicine God Palace. There shouldn't be a problem, right?" Qian Duo looked at D-Bay and asked. D-Bay hesitated for a moment and said, "Are you sure you want to go with us?" Qian Duo nodded and said, "Of course. I'm worried about the little man. It's too dangerous to go with you." "Who wants you to be worried? Don't talk nonsense." Chapter 1672. The Qian clan had a close relationship with the divine Qianlai firm. Some said that the Qian clan was a high-ranking family of the divine Qianlai firm, while others said that the divine Qianlai firm belonged to the Qian clan. The divine Qianlai firm had business all over the divine realm and had a close relationship with the Medicine God Palace. It wasn't difficult for Qian Duo to join D-Bay's team and head to the Medicine God Palace's main hall. D-Bay wanted to borrow Qian Duo's strength to strengthen their defense. Yang Wu had caused too much of commotion. All the major forces in the Luo state were eyeing him covetously. It was unknown which force or a rogue cultivator would launch a sneak attack. One more person and one more force might not be a bad thing. Moreover, it wasn't that he wanted to invite the other party, but that the other party would definitely request it. Even if something happened, he would have a reason. After Qian Duo joined, they finally set off for the Medicine God Palace's main hall. While they were on their way, another expert had been secretly observing their movements the entire time. When they set off, there were others who followed them. The Alchemy Furnace Secret Realms inheritance is of great importance. We can't afford to lose it this time. That's right. With the Alchemy Furnace Secret Realms inheritance, our Dark Pill Palace can improve further and catch up with the Medicine God Palace as soon as possible. The princess has already left. There are only experts from a medicine god palace beside that brat. We have to mobilize our strongest forces and take them down as quickly as possible. This time, we have to capture that brat alive. If we can't capture him alive, we have to take his soul to ensure that his soul is intact. Kill the others if you can to prevent any future trouble. There were only 1 or 2 paths to the Medicine God Palace's main hall. They didn't have many choices. If someone wanted to follow them, they couldn't avoid it. Luo Manor City was the largest city in the Luo state. They had long-distance spatial doors that connected to other states. They had to pass through 6 states and finally reach the Medicine God State to reach their destination. The Medicine Divine Prefecture was named Medicine God because the progenitor of the Medicine God Palace came from there and became an alchemy emperor. Later on, he became an alchemy immortal. In the end, he named the prefecture after him. The Medicine God Palace reigned supreme in that prefecture. All the forces there relied on the Medicine God Palace to survive. Most of the forces there were extraordinary alchemy forces. In the end, they all aimed to nurture disciples to join the Medicine God Palace. As long as the disciples they nurtured became members of the Divine Medicine Hall, their forces would become more stable and powerful, and they would obtain more resources. Yang Wu's group headed for the Medicine Divine Prefecture. They passed through 6 prefectures and 18 prefectures. The journey took 3 months. This was under the premise that they had the spatial gate. If they didn't have the spatial gate, they might not be able to reach their destination even if they flew for 1 or 2 years. When they arrived at a place where there was no spatial door, the pursuers appeared. The place they had arrived at was at the border between the 2 prefectures. Due to the tense relationship between the 2 prefectures, the spatial gate had long been sealed. That was why such a fault zone had appeared. It was a large piece of barren land. It would take nearly a month to reach the next state. This was the best place to make a move. Along the way, Zhai Bei and Yang Wu had vaguely felt that someone was chasing after them. Unfortunately, they did not notice anything strange. It was only when they arrived here that the other party was exposed. When the other party came out, they immediately used their trump card. They did not give Zhai Bei, Yang Wu, and the rest any time to prepare. Spatial God-slaying formation. This was a god-slaying formation that imprisoned space. It was a formation that was set up by 8 god-level experts at the same time. It was impossible to guard against. The space here became distorted and locked on a Zhai Bei, Yang Wu, and the rest. Once they were sealed here, they would definitely be caught like a turtle in a jar. It would be difficult for them to escape. They really came. Quickly break this place. Zhai Bei cried out in surprise. There were 2 powerful deity realm experts beside him. They erupted at the same time and mobilized the power of heaven and earth to blast towards the confinement power. There were also experts beside Qian Duo, who took action to resist the distorted space power in all directions. Qian Duo was shocked by the power that swept over. Who dares to attack us? How dare they? Master, this is a forbidden formation. Quickly break out. Qi Jin, who was sitting on Yang Wu, shouted. Qi Jin was also very sensitive to the power of space. He quickly rushed forward with Yang Wu and the little man, wanting to rush out before the formation was set up. Stop! Don't go over! Yang Wu shouted. He opened his soul eye and saw that there was an even more terrifying power surging in the space ahead. As long as they dared to rush over, they would immediately fall into the other party's trap. Ha! None of you can escape today. A maniacal laugh rang out. Boundless power descended and formed a large formation that confined the space. Even if several powerful godly realm experts attacked, they were unable to stop the formation of the formation in time. However, a top deity realm expert from the Medicine God Hall struck out a true god weapon in time and forcefully broke open a crack in the formation, causing the formation to be unable to completely seal it. Charge towards me, the top deity realm expert from the Medicine God Hall said. His name was Zhang Beishir, and he was the most powerful protector in the Medicine God Hall. Although he was not a martial god, he had been at the top deity realm for many years. He had been unable to reach the true god realm. so he stayed in the branch hall as a protector. Now, escorting Yang Wu to the medicine god hall was a great contribution. He might even be able to obtain other resources. There could not be any mistakes. Naturally, he had to give it his all. As Zhang Beishir shouted, the others also rushed in his direction. At the same time, they used their power to prevent Zhang Beishir from expanding the formation's opening. Naive, a cold voice resounded. A dark power broke through the air and ruthlessly blasted towards Zhang Beishir. The other party was also a top deity realm expert. He also had a true god weapon and wanted to suppress Zhang Beishir. Zhang Beishir had no choice but to face the attack. He could not take care of the others. At the same time, the space god-killing formation that the others had combined was fully activated. Terrifying power rushed toward Di Bei, Yang Wu, and the others. The formation was infused with the power of the divine veins. Under the activation of the 8 deity realm experts, it exploded with terrifying power. It was as if it was going to destroy all the living things in the world. Faced with the destructive power, the expressions of Di Bei, Yang Wu, and the others changed drastically. Although the power was not comparable to the power of a true god, it already had 1/3 of the power. It was not something a deity realm expert could withstand. Murder. Ancestor, save me. Qian Duo reacted quickly. He tore the true god's decree apart and shouted. A true god's shadow appeared. A majestic power slammed toward the divine formation. Boom, boom. The power of a true god was extremely heaven-defying. It instantly blocked the power of the divine formation and tried to break it. Suddenly, a bead appeared in the middle of the divine formation. It instantly froze the divine formation and greatly increased the power of the divine formation. It suppressed the true god's willpower. Di Bei cried out, "It's the formation sealing bead. It's actually this thing. We're in big trouble now." "What's the formation sealing bead?" Yang Wu asked, puzzled. There are always some flaws in any large formation. The formation sealing bead can strengthen the power of the formation and seal off every flaw in the formation. Moreover, it can isolate any senses from the outside world, making it impossible for others to detect the situation here. If we are unable to forcefully break the formation, we will all be killed by them. The other party wants to exterminate all of us. Di Bei's face revealed an incomparably solemn expression. Then aren't we really done for? Qian Duo said with a pale face. If you have more powerful weapons, we can break the formation if we work together. However, they won't give us the chance. Hurry up and defend. Otherwise, we'll die even faster, Di Bei replied. A set of divine armor had already appeared on his body, wrapping him up in layers. Qian Duo didn't dare to say anything more. In the blink of an eye, he put on a few sets of armor. He wrapped himself up from head to toe like a dumpling. It was quite funny. In addition, he took out an extraordinary short dagger and said, "This is a true god weapon. Everyone, help me." Just as he finished speaking, a terrifying divine power swept toward them. The power of the spatial slash was enough to kill any divine realm creature. Seeing that Di Bei and the others were severely injured by the power, a black pot flew out and quickly covered everyone's heads. It blocked the power that was coming toward them. Boom, boom. Fortunately, they were all gathered together and weren't too scattered. They were blocked by the black pot. Help me block these attacks. Otherwise, I can't handle it alone, Yang Wu's voice said. The black pot was naturally Yang Wu's. Only the true god Black Wok could withstand such a terrifying attack. Yang Wu had to rely on himself to block the destruction of a god formation. It was too difficult for him to do so. He had to borrow the power of others to block such a crazy and concentrated attack. Let's do this together. Di Bei did not hesitate to put power into the black pot. Everyone else did the same. They put power into the black pot. Hua Shenzi was the godson of a 9 divine clan. He had a lot of trump cards. He activated a furnace and shouted, "These be asterisk stars want to deal with us so easily." Explode furnace. The furnace wasn't a true god weapon, but contained a scary, godly fire. Under his control, a scary wave of fire went toward the god formation. It wanted to break the God formation. The raging fire formed a sea of fire, consuming the God formation's power. Unfortunately, the destructive power wasn't as great as expected. The space God-destroying formation's power was enough to threaten a true God elite. It was not a joke. It's over, Washensi said in despair.